This is A's Cast Live, your comprehensive look at the Oakland Athletics.
Rooker, it's a fly ball to deep center. Robert going back at the track. He will turn and watch it fly.
And 29 other MLB clubs.
Dolis Garcia sends one the other way. That sends Carroll back. He's at the wall. Legend grows. Ronald Acuna, another milestone in a truly historic season.
Julio with an absolute nuke out to left field.
It's Glaber Day. And like a good Glaber, Torres is there.
Join us as we take you inside the baseball universe. From humidors to Stuff Plus to walk-off dingers, we have you covered. Spend your afternoon with us, only on A's Cast Live. Here's Chris Townsend.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another edition of A's Cast Live. We have a great show for you today as the A's are back on the road. They're in Texas to take on the Rangers, who are, trying to salvage their season after winning the World Series. They've won 3 in a row. The A's just continue to win series. Last 12 series. The last 12 series, the A's are 7-2-3. Jensen Lewis, you hear him on Sirius XM, former big leaguer, and also does television for the Guardians, will be with us. A lot to talk about because the West is hot in the National League, the American League, the Central. How's our guy Stephen Vogt doing? And then Jared Sandler from the Rangers broadcast team will join us once again. Remember we met him, we've had him on the show, but we met him at Farron's house at the barbecue.
You met him at Farron's.
Oh, I met him.
I wasn't there. I went home.
You weren't invited, right?
No, Farron invited me. I just went
he?
home. I went home. Farron, good friend of ours.
Jared Sandler will be here at 3:30, and then the Mark Kotsay show at 4 o'clock. I got to tell you, I love everything about yesterday, except the loss. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes you learn in defeat. You better learn in defeat. If you're ever going to get better, you got to learn. And yesterday's game, obviously with Lawrence Butler, we got to get into. J.J. Bleday. Great to see Seth Brown when your veteran leader guy is playing well. 2 bombs the day before, and then what he did yesterday. Offense, that was some good stuff. And really was a good series. Now, the way the pitching and the not so hot. But the number one thing to take away, and my big takeaway today to start this show, the big takeaway is this. We have some expectations again. And it's refreshing. And it feels good. It feels good to watch people actually not be cool with losing. It feels good to have people angry that they lost, that there's expectations that the team should win, that you should have swept the Reds, and that you're going to get on the flight to Texas and you're going to be a little miffed, even when you've had a good game. You're not happy because it's now about winning again. I absolutely love that. You as a fan should love that. For the rest of the season, heading into next year, into next season, and the future, that this group is like, I'm tired of getting my ass handed to me. I'm tired of being embarrassed. I want to win. And it's just not about my personal stats. We want to win for each other. And once your team starts doing that, that's when there's a big change. And the last few days have been really good for me. Working over at NBC, and you were over there, it's good for us to get out of the bubble. Because really in the last couple of years, we're in this Oakland bubble. And it's good for us to get out of the bubble into the real world and remember what it's like and go like, oh, yeah, things are real different outside of once you get, it's almost like a TV show. We're like the bubble kids, right? We get outside of the bubble like, wow, the world is completely different out here. I mean, that's our work environment, right? Everything we do is centered around everything that has been going on and all the drama and all the chaos and all the anger and everything. And then you get outside of the bubble and you realize, wow, the world's a different place. Especially when you go over to San Francisco and NBC and you're now more in a Giant-centric world, right? And they're working on everything 49ers over there. And Steph Curry signs the extension and all this kind of stuff. And you realize, oh, wow, our bubble really isn't as big as we think it is. There's people who flat out don't give a damn. And they're only 13. I mean, the studios are like 13, 14 miles away. And you're like, wow, we are so in our own little private Idaho.
Great B-52 song.
It's like, wow, it is just, it was, I think, good for me to get out and like breathe and be like, the world is definitely different than inside the bubble. But I really, the big takeaway today is, man, there's expectations. So what does that mean? Yeah, there's expectations to beat the Rangers now. There's expectations. What's the first series back? The Mariners? Starting on Monday?
Monday, yeah.
4-game set. Like, there's expectations for this team.
You can bury the Mariners.
Well, it's just not, whoa. That's my hot take you're trying to bury there. But there is now this belief, like since the start of July, the team is 28-19. Since the All-Star break, the 21-14. Last 12 series, 7-2-3. You don't want to play the A's right now. You don't want to play the A's at all. And that is a reflection of the front office. It's a reflection of the manager. It's a reflection of the coaching staff, and it's a reflection of the players. And it's great to see. And Lawrence Butler, I can't say it enough. Now, I'm going to mention this to Mark Kotsay, and the way I put it, he takes it as, well, we can't all you have to praise the player on what he's doing. Yes, of course. But Lawrence Butler is the greatest example of a product of the men who work in this organization. Because Lawrence Butler loves being an A. Lawrence Butler loves this organization. Lawrence Butler loves this organization so much, he's been watching this show. I want you to think about that. Lawrence Butler knew who we were before we ever met him. He started watching this show in A-ball. He watched this show in Double-A with Bobby Crosby. He is a fan of the organization well before he ever started doing what he's doing. He is a reflection of all of us. That's why I said it was so important for him to make the team at the start of the year. It's because of who Lawrence Butler is. There's certain people, right? Like when you think of, I'll give you an extreme example. When you think about what the Yankees were like for all those championship years and all those years making the playoffs, the example was Derek Jeter. He was the example of the organization. He embodied the organization. Cal Ripken embodied the Orioles. Kirby Puckett embodied the Twins. George Brett with the Royals. Tony Gwynn with the Padres. Certain players, they embody the franchise. And Lawrence Butler can be that guy. You drafted him. He came through your system. All the coaches have known him for years, and they all love him. And how do you not? He's the nicest, got that $1 million smile. I mean, every day Lawrence Butler makes you feel better when you talk to him. He is a special, special kid. And I haven't even talked about what he's done stats-wise. That's my whole point. Like Lawrence Butler hitting 200 is still a special guy. He is a special dude no matter what. Whether he plays baseball or whatever Lawrence Butler is going to do in his life, his aura around him is infectious. Not all people are like that. I wish everybody was, because you'd live a much better life. Because life in Lawrence Butler's world is phenomenal. Now, let's bring up Lawrence Butler. 3 home runs yesterday, and that last home run he hit, where he screams and says, let's effing go, that thing's going to be played over and over. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again today. If you missed what I said on the postgame show, if you missed what I said on NBC, I said this is going to be played on Quick Pitch tonight, SportsCenter tonight. this Sunday when they do best plays of the week, and then when they do best plays of the month, and then when they do best play, you're going to see this home run over and over and over and over and over again because it was awesome. It's what he's becoming. And that's why I always laugh when a player starts playing well. We go, well, look what he's doing, Bushy, and I'm trying to keep my head still. Did he look like he kept his head still there?
No.
This is what we get so worried about mechanics and we get so worried about data and everything. This is a player who you're watching just naturally letting it go. See ball, hit ball, and letting, as Carrie Underwood once said, Jesus take the wheel. He's letting the baseball gods let it go. He's letting it go. He's feeling it, and whack. His body's moving all around. Did you see still there? That was such a big hack. He's feeling it because this game is mental. They all got physical skills, but the confidence there, and he's just letting it happen. He's letting the God-given ability happen, and he has it. Size, strength, speed, he's got it all. And the list, the 3 home run list, Geronimo Baroa, 1996 is the only player to do it in the same season multiple times. 17 of his 19 home runs this season have come from the start of July. I mean, when you're saying, it's hard to believe Jake Berger's on this list, but the Burgermeister has been phenomenal in South Florida.
He's taken over the Marlins.
It's his team.
Well, I mean, there's no one left.
It
is his team, de facto his team.
He's the new Jeff Conine.
Conine's son's playing.
Conine the Barbarian. Yeah, who's he playing for?
Is he a Marlin?
I just saw the highlight of Jeff Conine and his wife and the family, and I believe it was the wife or somebody was crying after his first hit.
I believe he's a Marlin.
He's a Marlin. And Aaron Judge. Only Judge and Berger have hit more home runs in that time. Aaron Judge, who was on a historic pace. The country's starting to catch on to what we've been talking about, by the way. You sent me that article where people...
It's a good article breaking down those seasons.
People are starting to realize, what this guy's doing clean needs to be celebrated. Like way more than we celebrated the guys who did it dirty. Now, they did it earlier, and it's going to be hard to manufacture that love that we had for McGuire and Sosa and everything, but what Aaron Judge is doing is real. This is real. Not saying those guys didn't hit the home runs, but they were doing it with PEDs, what turns you into Superman. This guy's doing it for real, clean. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But Lawrence Butler is keeping up with those guys right now.
And I broke it down, since he got demoted back in June or mid-May, and he came back up, in June. Since then, he's hitting .294 with a .953 OPS, 17 home runs, 44 RBIs, 9 steals, 12 doubles, and 2 triples in that span.
You know what the reality is? The numbers mean nothing. They mean for the back of your baseball card.
Go ahead and say it. Back of the bay, yeah.
Baseball reference. He's growing up in front of our eyes. Like, numbers are numbers. But he's growing up as a leader, as a great player. Everything Marquise Grissom has worked with him down in Atlanta, he is becoming that guy. And it's been a lot of fun to see. Jensen Lewis now joins us, and obviously he's been around this game for a long, long time. Jensen, I don't know if you've been able to see the highlights of Lawrence Butler and what he's been able to do. Actually, he just did it in Ohio there in Cincinnati. But you've seen it before. Numbers, we can talk numbers all day long, but to watch a young, special player, the light goes on, right? And all of a sudden, what is that like when you have a teammate or maybe even an opposing player where you go, this guy's found it?
Yeah, great to be back with you guys, first and foremost. And yes, Lawrence Butler has made a cameo on my fantasy team a couple of times so far this year. So a game-recognized game right there. And he was a huge, huge addition to my outfield. But, yeah, I think the easy stock answer is as a reliever, I'm like, God, I hope I'm not facing this guy with runners in scoring position and with the game on the line, because you feel like at that point the baseball looks like a beach ball. And I think that's kind of the stretch you've seen from Lawrence Butler when he's at his best so far this year, and his time there at Great American Ballpark the 3 home run game is the epitome of all of that coming together. So no surprise that when you look at Brent Rooker and the light bulb going off for him, and now, it's like the Matrix. Everything has slowed down for him. He's really seeing pitches well. He's doing damage with consistency. I think that's the next step for Lawrence Butler when you see him, quote unquote, arrive, and the rest of the league is like, okay, this guy's a dude. You're going to have to be ready for him in any part of the game, in any situation. I think you kind of seen that now when he's come back up and he's done the damage that he's done.
Is it odd for the baseball world? Because also J.J. Bleday, other than Aaron Judge, for a guy playing center field every day, all the home runs, all the extra base hits, he's one of the top guys in doubles. J.J. Bleday, obviously, you knew had the talent. He was the 4th overall pick by the Marlins. It's like a steal trade for A.J. Puck. I mean, all of a sudden you got all these A's players. Is it weird for the baseball world to look up and go, wait a minute, I know all the noise has been off the field and move in Sacramento and then Vegas, but all of a sudden the A's have one of the best records since July 1st, and people don't want to play them right now. Is that odd for the baseball world?
Not really. And shout out JJ Bleday, us fellow Vanderbilt Commodores stick together. Maybe you guys and I kind of knew early on, like, this guy's going to be able to do it with relative quickness. And if he figures it out in the minor league level quite quickly, then he'll be an impact bat, whether it was going to be in Miami, now finding his way in Oakland. And now you kind of build a little foundation there, fellas, and seeing what Bleday and what Rooker and what Butler can do for you atop a lineup. And, hey, the top of the rotation now with seeing what JP Sears has been able to do back into that bullpen. You guys know this as well as we do from watching from afar. I can remember the times going that, Oakland has had such a great ability from young relievers and then young starters getting opportunities, and even the reclamation projects where, hey, I know I'm going to be able to get my innings. I'm pitching in a very favorable ballpark. Let me get my starts. Let me take my turn, not only to play well, but to audition perhaps for a trade out. Now where you're looking at from this group with an eye on Sacramento, a ballpark that I was familiar with playing in the PCL. I mean, the way they're equipped right now heading into next year, they're going to compete. And you guys make the great point about momentum. And there can be a lost season, but I don't think Mark Kotsay operates that way. I think this is already, we're into 2025. We're auditioning guys that, fellas, yeah, the season may start in March next year, but it's actually starting now because I want to know who my guys are. I want to go into the offseason and have an idea who my core is. When the World Series is over, my first phone call the next day or maybe even that night is, let's go, boys. Let's rock and roll. Let's start now while everyone's recovering, while everyone's trying to, take a deep breath. I think that's kind of what you're seeing. And yeah, your club, I mean, you think about where they are in the standings, irrelevant at this point. We've known that for a while. But it's relevant to every playoff team or contender that's going to see them. It's a double-edged sword. You've got this club that's got guys trying to prove themselves, and then it's, hey, they're playing good baseball. They're playing fun and attractive baseball. That's all you can ask for from a fan base perspective. And as far as the front office goes, they got to be thrilled knowing that, yes, there's been some hard times, but these young guys have not let that affect them. They've pushed the outside noise away, and they've focused on the game, and that's a brilliant thing to see.
We got a lot of pitching questions for you, but we're going to start. There was a tweet about the top 6 guys making the most money this year. It's $233 million. It's like Scherzer, Verlander, Strasburg, who was it? It was Corbin, not Corbin.
Corbin. It was Patrick Corbin.
Strasburg,
yeah.
And they for
Scherzer.
$233 million, they have 11 wins. Garrett Cole's on the list. So it's like, and then I got asked the question, hey, Kotsay, should he be thought of as a Cy Young contender? I was like, hell yes. The guy, I can't remember which, I watched every night. We're watching Quick Pitch, Tom Hamilton's highlights. We love having him on the show. He's the best. I'm like, Kotsay went 4 straight games closing it out for Stephen Vogt. I'm like, you look at where starting pitching is. Should he be a contender for the Cy Young? I mean, you're watching it every day. For me, for looking afar, I'm like, of course he should be. Hell, I think he should be maybe the front runner.
Yeah, and to be fair, we started pounding the drum a little bit right at the All-Star break, and being mindful that traditionally it's a starting pitching award, but if you look at and compare the numbers, guys, it's a fascinating case study. You go look at the clip that Felix Bautista was on through the All-Star break last year into the end of August. And I think that's where he got tripped up. It was either the middle of August or maybe the second week of August. Kind of had a couple outings back to back, or 3 out of 4 where it just you finally had your rough patch of the year, and we all do. To watch him have the consistency, it's not just the results. And as a former closer, I can remember going save opportunities 3 days in a row one time in my career, and I can remember getting warm in that save opportunity for that third straight day. And I knew I didn't have it. I knew after I threw my first 8-10 warm-up pitches, I'm like, I have 0 in the tank right now, and I got to figure out how to get 3 outs.
It's like me on the range. It's duck hook. I can't move the tight. Uh-oh, this is going to be a long day.
There's no escaping it, and you got to find a way to navigate it. But the stuff, guys, has not suffered whatsoever, whether it's back-to-back days, 4 out of 6, the 4 days in a row. It's still 99 to 102. It's still the crispness of 92 to 94 with the slider. Fellas, he's working on a third pitch right now that he really hasn't deployed just yet. And if you thought the first 2 were ridiculous, I mean, God help us all if he gets this third one rolling before the end of September. Is he the favorite right now? I still think Tarek Skubal's our favorite. However, you got a guy that I think before the season was somewhere wherever the legal jurisdictions are at 250 to 1. He's at a 25 to 1 in a lot of places. So that in itself gives you credence to that. There is momentum to this. I think 2 things have to be alive if he is alive for the award. Number 1, Cleveland has to be in contention for the 1 seed, because I think this will be a narrative-based award if this continues on this path. Because if A.J. Hinch is really mindful of, hey, we're going to try and make sure that Tarek Skubal doesn't take his normal 5-day turn, if it's 6 days, 7 days rest, or we're taking him out after 5. The way that Corbin Burns' August went, I think you can make a very compelling argument that it is Tarek Skubal at 1 right now, but Emmanuel Kotsay continues to close the distance. Cleveland still has to be in contention for the 1 seed. If we're there halfway through September, guys, and Emmanuel Kotsay hasn't stubbed his toe just yet, wow, what a finish. I mean, it's since Eric Gagne, guys. And you go back and you look at that season, 2003, I think. That's the last time that a closer reliever won the Cy Young. Holy moly, the numbers are ironically very similar to this point in their respective seasons.
Well, we're no stranger to it. I got bobbleheads up here of Raleigh Fingers and Dennis Eckersley.
Yeah,
I know about Cy Youngs and MVPs actually for relievers. And I know what's Detroit. Detroit's like what, 1 game, or they're at 500, 1 game over 500.
1 game over, yeah.
So the thing that and I respect everybody at this level, and everybody's competing, everybody's battling, but there is something when you're really playing for the playoffs and you're battling every day. To me, that gives you a little bit of an edge. And when I think about the Guardians, the Royals, and the Twins, the Central has been a blast this year. It's been a lot of fun. And this last month, I mean, handicap it for us. I don't know if you can, but it's going to be it's a race to the finish.
Honestly, guys, I think this is the most wide open the American League has been in probably the last 5, maybe 10 years. Again, with Houston making the run that they have here in the last 4 to 5 weeks, they've got themselves back. 7 consecutive years in the LCS is remarkable in its own right. All the injuries they've had to deal with. They were 10 games under 500 at one point. They fought all the way back. Now 4 clear of Seattle for the West. Guardians for a while were, 9-10 games ahead in the Central. Credit where it's due. Kansas City has made up all that ground, and now just a game and a half, 2 games out of the top spot. Minnesota, with the injury to Joe Ryan, that just stings so much for them, because he was such an important piece with Pablo Lopez, with Bailey Over, with Simeon Woods-Richardson, back into that bullpen as some of the best swing and miss stuff in the American League. I'm fascinated to see the race with Baltimore. We talked about this on MLB Network Radio this morning with Jim Bowden, and I told him, I said, I agree. I can take the Yankee rotation absolutely over Baltimore right now. I don't think anyone will argue with that. Can you take the back end of either of those bullpens to close out a series right now? I certainly can. And I think that's where the edge may go to a Cleveland, to a Houston, absolutely, to a Kansas City, if they're kind of the Texas Ranger team of last year in this postseason. It's going to be wild, fellas. And I know just for us in Cleveland, the final homestand, our last series is against Houston. So that might be that series could determine, fellas, who gets the 2 seed, who gets a 1 seed. I mean, all of this, and I kind of have my fingers crossed because I want chaos. I absolutely want that final week to have every implication, scoreboard watching, circa, the Tampa Bay Rays from when Longoria had the walk-off to get him into the postseason years ago. So there's going to be implications on the American League side, I think, not only just for seeding, but you're going to have 2 divisions likely coming down with the East and the Central to the final weekend. If Houston does what they're capable of, I just don't know if Seattle has enough offense to keep pace. You would think Houston could get across the finish line, but they're still going to have, as I said, a lot to play for if you have the Yankees, the Orioles, the Guardians, the Royals, the Astros, all 5 of those teams perhaps fighting for those 2 byes with only a handful of games separating them, entering the final week of September. Let's go. I want chaos. I want to see it. It'll be great.
It reminds me a lot of like our division last year at the end of the year where you're up in the Pacific Northwest. Texas gets knocked off the top spot, but they make the wild card. They're not happy because they got to go from Seattle all the way to Tampa. Seattle's now knocked out. And Houston goes in and sweeps Arizona in Arizona. And then Arizona at 84 wins goes to the World Series. So ultimate chaos, cannot wait. And I want to end on this, and where we appreciate the time because we know you got the double dip with TV and radio going on. Speaking of TV, so I was doing our TV the past couple of days, our pre and post game show on cable, and Randy Wynn was doing the Giants, and we're sitting there. I said, Randy, check this out. So we're now over 800 pitchers used. Last year was 863 human beings pitched a Major League Baseball record. What are we at right now?
Entering today, we're only at 807.
807. We have guys making their debuts today. So, and I said, Randy, when you played back when he was a Devil Ray back in the day and a Giant and everything, I said, Randy, there'd be like 400 and something, maybe low 500s. We're going to blow past 863. Think about when you were playing. Is there really 800 and something human beings qualified to throw in Major League Baseball?
No, but they're going to get that on the back of their baseball card, and some guys who probably don't want to have that either. I was going to throw an idea out at you guys. Do we get to 950? Or I'll tell you, we'll make it easy, round numbers. Do we get to 900 total pitchers used this year? Do we get to that first, or do we get to the Chicago White Sox losing 120 games or more first? That could come right down to the wire, knowing where both those trends are at.
It's like an offshore bet right there.
Unbelievable. I would shade the favorite to the pitchers, but man, the way the White Sox schedule is the next couple of weeks, I don't know. I'll shade the pitching side.
I'll give you the answer. They're both gross. They're both absolutely gross.
Yes.
And I don't know where we go. Like, we talked with our pitching coach, and he's like, he doesn't love this new 6-inning stuff that they're talking about, but he's like, maybe I'd be in favor of capping how many pitchers you got. Maybe you say you got 5 pitchers a game and figure out the 9 innings with the 5. I don't know what it is, but when I was growing up, and then now being in this for all the years I've been in, I know the guy with the ball, whether it's the quarterback, whether it's the point guard in basketball, was the baseball pitcher. We just saw the great documentary and the show that we saw. I wouldn't call it a documentary, but the great show about Maddox this past week. The guys with the ball should be stars. We're taking the stardom away from our pitchers. We're just throwing as much volume at the hitters as we can, just as many different looks and different humans as we can. Something's got to give because pitchers need to be stars again.
Yeah, it's well said. And I think you've got a fight on your hands if you're ownership in the commissioner's office with that being collectively bargained or needing to be that way. Because as you guys well know, and you put the figures out there with, the starting pitchers accumulating 11 total wins and $250 million, between the 6 or 8 of them. again, injuries are now escalating with so many reasons in conjunction with that. I don't think it's hard and fast as putting an arbitrary 6 innings out there and then having the caveats with it. I think there's a little deeper dive that has to go in. The other side of this, fellas, and of course you've seen it from the playoff runs with Oakland, you get to our playoff format now, and I'm glad we're at the best of 3 for the wild card series, because it really emulates a lot more of what our regular season is. We're the one sport where our postseason is so different than what we do during the regular season. And, is the hard and fast thing now where you have to, play at least a minimum of a best of 5 in a wild card, a best of 5 in a division series, just to put the emphasis. If we're going to force pitching to go, or at least starting pitching to go 6, well, is that going to be the same case in the playoffs when how many times do we see a manager say, not going to have my starting pitcher face the lineup the third time around? And how many times do we see that come before completion of that 6th inning? So I don't know if there's a hard and fast answer, but I'm with you guys that, the starting pitcher needs to reprise their role of being what we saw with Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz in the 90s, and, Pedro Martinez and Roger Clemens and all the duds going out there and be like, all right, that's our guy. We're riding him for 7 innings, and let's see where he takes us.
I mean, we are part of one of the greatest matchups numerous times when you talk about Dave Stewart against Roger Clemens. That was must-see television. Hey, always fabulous. You know that with Stephen Vogt at the helm, we are so rooting for Cleveland this year and hope that you guys end up winning it. And you look at it, you got a chance, definitely a chance at the number 1 seed. So good luck the rest of the way. We love hearing you on Sirius XM. I tell Farron all the time, hey, man, I pay for it. I'm not getting it for Channel 89, Sirius XM. I'm a loyal listener. I love all the shows. I like the guys in the afternoon, Loud Outs, Power Alley, and even Jim Bowden when he keeps saying their award-winning GM show on Sunday. We had Jim Duquette on recently. I'm like, what award is this? No one knows what the award is.
Oh, my God. You said it perfectly, and I'll leave it at that. There's no way I can top the explanation, but always remember, on Sundays, the award-winning front office show with as many GMs as humanly possible that they can get on there. Always great being with you guys. Love being on, and appreciate you guys being on the bandwagon. Voter has been it's incredible. I was with Terry Francona yesterday for our Guardians charity golf outing, and he's in high spirits, and he's really on the road to recovery from all his health ailments he's been working through. I don't think you could find a guy happier for a first-year manager stepping in, and for someone who understands the stress, understands the day-to-day ops and what you have to do. Guys, we may look back in a year and look at that managerial search and say, damn, was it this easy? Was it really this easy? Because that's what Voter has done. He has really won, I think, the hearts and minds from day one of this group. He has incredible empathy. He's an amazing listener. He really leans on his coaching staff when he doesn't feel like he has the answer. And there's no ego, guys. There's none. He's like, I want to do whatever we got to do to put our team in the best possible situation to win. It is remarkable what he's done. I hope that we're able to get across the finish line with the best record. He wins Manager of the Year. But man alive, we're so lucky to have him, and appreciate you guys being with us. We'll take every fan we can possibly get.
We're on the bandwagon. We'll check in with you in the playoffs, because you will be in the playoffs. Be well.
Thank you, guys. Great to see you.
Jensen Lewis, fabulous on television. Great on Sirius XM, the MLB channel, Channel 89. The award-winning
Power Alley?
No.
I don't think they have a Power Alley. That's
the award-winning front office show.
I will say you threw the question at Jensen, and I'm going to answer it for my own self, for my own take. I believe in Guardian great, Indian great, Grady Sizemore, leader of men. The pitchers hitting 900 will happen first. I do think the White Sox will lose 120 games, but
you got assuming
September 1st is Sunday.
Everybody's going to get one pitcher for September call-ups. You get a pitcher and you get a position player and a pitcher. So I have to think most guys out of the 30 will have not played yet in Major League Baseball. So that's adding already a bigger number. We got the Italian There's a really cool story today about the Angels. And by the way, I wish I was this kid's agent. Samuel Aldegari is starting for the Angels. He's 22 years old. He's the first pitcher born and raised in Italy, Verona in northern Italy. He watched YouTube videos of Clayton Kershaw. He is the first born and raised guy from Italy to reach the majors. What can you just even imagine? Is he lefty?
Yeah, and they just
watching Kershaw.
And they just got him. He was in the Carlos Estevez trade, so they just got him from the Phillies.
The opportunities for endorsements for this kid being the first Italian born and raised in Major League Baseball. Oh my God. I mean, seriously, you know how much money? I wish I was this kid's agent. I mean, unbelievable. Like, if he has any success, can you imagine how the money he can make here and the money he can make over there?
It's incredible. And I'm looking at, because I didn't see where he was doing in the minor leagues. Hey, look at this, shocker. The Angels calling up another guy from AA who's never sniffed AAA.
That's what they do. Oh, get
so
ready.
He'll be 808, by the way. He'll be 808.
He what?
He'll be pitcher number 808 tonight.
808. Well, here you go. How about Rhett Lauder?
That's 809.
Rhett Lauder's 22 years old. He'll be pitching for the Reds tonight against the Brewers, making his debut. He was the 7th overall pick last year out of Wake Forest. He'll be the 8th player from the 2023 draft to make his MLB debut. You don't think this is a young man's game? This goes back to that conversation the other day watching MLB Network where Dan Plesac was talking about a guy, and hey, man, when I was his age, I think it was and he just went yard. The kid who came up for the Nationals, Carson.
Oh, Dylan Cruz. LSU.
So he was like, man, these kids are coming up. And then Harold Reynolds he goes, Dan, these kids are different. They know they weren't going to spend. I mean, think about what we used to do. Rookie, A, high A, double A, triple A. We used to take guys and put 5-6 years of minor league baseball before they could ever come to the big leagues. And you hear all these baseball men, it's the big leagues. You gotta have 1,500 at bats, 500 innings, and all this garbage. That's like these kids coming out of college. You're gonna have these kids. These kids are. You think Nick Kurtz, the guy we just drafted out of Wake Forest, is gonna need 1,500 at bats?
I'm gonna go. No, I know he's on the injured list.
I mean, come on.
Rhett Lauder, the kid who's pitching for the Reds in the game one of their doubleheader today. I think is it game one he's pitching or is it game two? Either way, he's pitching the doubleheader today against the Brewers. He was drafted one pick after Jacob Wilson. So
I don't know which game he's going, but anyway,
it's
the last time we had 8 or more draftees reach the majors by the end of the following season was 1989. You might have heard of guys like Frank Thomas, John Olerud, Ben McDonald.
I'll say, is that the Ben McDonald draft?
I mean, what are we talking about? I mean, these kids, you got to learn how to play. You got to learn how to play and sitting these kids in the minor leagues. Because here's the problem that I would debate with any of you old school baseball guys. Front offices don't want to be paying people well into their 30s. So how long do you want me to sit in the minors? You draft me, I'm 21, 22. You're telling me I got to go rookie, A-ball, high A, double A, triple A. 5 years? And then I got a career of what? 3-4 year window before you're going to be weary of me in my 30s? See, because the old baseball people weren't weary of you in your 30s. They would sign you. Sign me at 35, 36, 37. Now we don't want to do that. So would I rather have growing pains and bring somebody up early, or whether I have you signed as your skills diminish and pay you a lot of money later? That's what I would challenge all the old school. It's the big leagues, old school people. Really? You want to be paying a guy big money at 34, 35, 36, 37? Or would I rather bring him up, let him learn, and deal with some growing pains early? What would you rather deal with? Because you're going to have one or the other. Otherwise, players' careers are going to be how long? We don't want to bring him up early, and we don't want to pay him late. Well, how long are guys' careers going to be?
Yeah, I don't
think old school baseball people really think about that. But then again, they don't really think about the business of the game either, because clearly we've had to change a lot of rules despite them.
Yeah, I'd rather see the guys come up early, obviously. The Angels are clearly in that camp. I mean, how many guys they've been promoting? I mean, Neto and Sean O'Well, and they've had numerous guys come up from AA on the pitching side. Their number one pick from this year, Christian Moore's already in AA, and I bet you he gets called up for the season. That season's over. The kid out of Tennessee. So he'll be he'd be the first kid out of this year's draft to be playing in Major League Baseball already, because he probably will be the first guy that gets called up, because the Angels don't want to wait. I mean, they're one of the lowest rated farm systems. Somehow their GM got an extension, so they need to start winning and showing they have guys to build for it. And so the kid they're calling up from the Estevez trade, Aldegari, hopefully he could do something for them, and they could prove they're building something going forward with Wash at the helm. But it hasn't been good for them, so I like that they're making these moves. And 100% right, the marketing opportunities, endorsements for this kid could be.
What are you learning in AAA playing in Reno?
Vegas,
Salt
Lake,
Colorado City, Colorado. Where they play at?
He's in Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs. What are you learning playing in arena ball?
What about Albuquerque?
I mean, it's a joke. You play in elevation. You play in the light air. I mean, what are you learning? So, and front offices have ruined pitching. So anybody that tells you that there's this huge, Bip Roberts was trying to. I mean, it's like. Bip was trying to sing that to me. I'm like, Bip, what is AAA? How many guys that have pitched out of this 800-something guys this year have pitched in AAA? This whole old school mindset, it's where baseball is behind other sports. Like, do you ever hear the NBA or the NFL talking about what happened 30 years ago?
Not really, no.
No, you don't. Our sport, you'll hear it tonight on A's Cast. I mean, I'm just broadcasters, they act like that's 40 years ago, 30 years ago. It's like, what are you talking about? There's 800-some pitchers. Majority of the guys you see now, I mean, look, how many guys are you going to see that are pitching tonight pitched in the minor leagues this year? There is a blur, because if you're going to use this many people and you're just going to throw an avalanche of guys at you, the numbers just show they can't just all be big leaguers.
I know two guys that weren't in the minor leagues this year, J.P. Sears and John Gray.
John Gray, he's throwing the ball great.
Yeah, he's been real good.
Terrible.
At least Kumar Rockers pitched well for them in the minor leagues. DeGrom's down there. When are all these guys coming back?
No, they're sunk. They're one of these teams that won a World Series, and the next year,
yeah, but what was
circle the drain?
There was. I remember hearing you talk about this. Patrick found it for you, and I forget what it was. But like, who was the last team to win the World Series and have the next season finish under 500?
There's been like. In baseball, it was like 5 teams in recent memory. We went back to, I can't remember if it was 2000 or 1990 or whatever it was. We went back to where you won the World Series and the next year you didn't even finish 500. I mean, think about that. To win the whole thing. And then next year, well, one of the teams was the Marlins that won in 97, but they gutted the team.
Yes.
To think that you won it, right? And then X amount of, it's not like you took a couple of years off. You literally missed November, December, January, February, back at it in March. So basically 4.5, because we now start in late March. 4.5 months. You go from winning the championship to 4.5 months later. Is that a long time?
No.
4.5 months later, you're not even a 500 team anymore. That's crazy.
So I found this article from 2017. So it's a little dated, but it says since 1980, there were 10 teams that won the World Series.
Since when?
1980.
Okay, there you go.
So 10 teams since 1980 finished under 500 after winning the World Series. This is back in 17, so I'd have to go back and look since then. But 2014, the Red Sox were 20 games under.
I don't want to go through the whole list. How many? So, I mean,
10. There's 10, yeah.
There's 10.
The Giants were one of them, too.
Yeah. I think the Red Sox, didn't the Red Sox in 2019 finish under 500 after winning in 2018? It's very rare.
No, they were 500.
What you're seeing, huh?
They were 500. They were 84 and 78.
It's one of the reasons. There was a recent team, but it's very rare that you win it all and the next year stink.
Do we count the 2020 Nats?
You got to count.
They were, the Nationals were under 500 in 2020.
Maybe that's the team. But, I mean, it's very rare. And you just start to wonder, and I know our fan base does not care, but you just start to wonder the future of Bruce Bochy. We asked Mark Kotsay off the air about it. He thinks that Kotsay will be back that Bochy will be back next year to finish out. Where's Nolan Ryan? What happened to him? Nolan still around?
My good friend Nolan.
This
right here.
Vince Cotronio's old neighbor right here, the great Nolan Ryan. Put Nolan out here today.
That was one of the great giveaways that they gave away at when I went to the game last.
Nothing but respect for this man.
Oh, I got it.
Nolan Ryan.
We got it. Since we're talking about the Rangers, did you see the text I sent you about the Rangers tweet about they're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Fergie Jenkins' 1974 season?
The Rangers are celebrating the 1974 season of Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins, which, by the way, I was 2 years old and I have no idea what he did.
Well, he finished.
I'm sure he was good.
Finished fifth in the MVP race. He had a 7.8 B WAR, as Baseball Reference WAR, 25 wins, 29 complete games.
They allowed him to pitch third time through the lineup. How that's got to be.
He only went 328 a third innings. 282 ERA, 225 strikeouts, and he did not win the Cy Young Award.
What?
He finished second.
Who won?
Let's see. 1974 Cy Young winner. Catfish Hunter.
What did Catfish do?
They were both 25 and 12. They both started 41 games.
I guarantee you Fergie had more strikeouts.
Fergie had way more strikeouts.
Yeah, because Catfish Hunter was not a strikeout pitcher.
Less walks. Fergie pitched more innings, had more complete games. They both had 6 shutouts. Catfish's whip was under 1. but Fergie's is almost under 1 too.
So wait a minute. Fergie Jenkins threw more innings. He had more complete games.
Yeah.
He had more strikeouts.
Yep. The only thing, Catfish had a lower ERA.
Well, one guy's pitching in Oakland, the other guy's pitching in an outdoor, basically pop-up high school stadium where the wind's blowing out. See that? I'm not being an Oakland homer here. I'm just being honest. Like, one guy's pitching in the best possible environment as a starting pitcher, where the other guy's pitching in the worst possible environment. This is outdoors, wind's blowing, it's hot as hell. Think about the hot summers. Everybody's so worried about how hot it is in Sacramento. Arlington, Texas, way hotter than Sacramento with crazy humidity. Fergie Jenkins, that's back. If you went back now and used what we did now, you're not going to. 25 and 12, that's great that they have the same
number of games started.
No way are you going to say those are the same years, and based off what you're dealing with. And one guy's playing for the best team in the league. The other guy, what were the Rangers in
1974?
Yeah, which I would give that
Whoa. Billy Martin managed that team to an 84-76 record. Respectable.
So actually, he was playing for something.
Yeah. So, but look at the list of the guys that are on this list. Catfish won. Fergie finished second. Nolan was third. Gaylord Patna Perry was fourth. Louis Tiant, friend of the program, was fifth. Mike Cuellar was sixth. And then John Hiller from the Tigers was was the last guy on the list. He was 17 and 14 with a 2.64 ERA.
And that's what we don't have now.
And he did. Oh, by the way, he didn't start any games. Those are all reliever.
By the way, we don't have that now. Those are star pitchers. Catfish Hunter is one of the great pitchers of all time, Hall of Fame. Fergie Jenkins, one of the great pitchers of all time, Hall of Fame. Nolan Ryan, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, Hall of Fame. Gaylord Perry, one of the great. Gaylord Perry was the first pitcher, because back when guys weren't moving around, Gaylord Perry was the first guy to win a Cy Young in both leagues. Gaylord Perry, one of the greatest pitchers of all time, in the Hall of Fame. Louis Tiant was a great. Give me.
That's what I'm going.
Louis Tiant, give me his 3-time All-Star, 2-time ERA title. I mean, these guys, this is your American League Cy Young Award list, 1974, nothing but Hall of Famers and stars.
How's he not in the Hall of Fame? He had 66 WAR.
He had 229 wins. Yeah, and
15 saves.
And we talk about putting in Joey Votto?
Yeah, this Tiant should be in 100%.
Carlos yesterday tried live on the air, tried to get me to say Davey Concepcion should be a Hall of Famer. I politely had to say, I know you both are from Venezuela. No.
I'd have to look at his numbers, but
it's like a 40 WAR, I think.
Yeah, 40 WAR, almost 1,000
Hall
runs.
Of very good.
Yeah. 267 batting average. Yeah, he had the accolades, 9-time All-Star, 5 Gold Gloves, All-Star Game MVP, 2-time World Series champion, obviously with the Big Red Machine. 88 OPS.
88.
OPS plus, I
what's
don't know.
100?
League average.
And you're 88? How are you going to put that in the Hall?
Yeah.
And
Hall of really good.
I like working with Carlos. He's a lot of fun. Davey Concepcion, Hall of very good. Like my guy, we need to try and get in, but that's kind of like Jimmy Rollins, Hall of very good. And there's nothing wrong with being a Hall of very good. You make a lot of money, and it's a great career. But we got to have the standard of the Hall of Fame. But getting back to the pitching, look at all those guys. Those guys are all Hall of Famers. The top 4 guys in the 1974 American League, not combining both leagues, just the American League Cy Young Award race. The top 4 guys are all in the Baseball Hall of Fame, legitly plaques. And when I mean legitly, they weren't Veterans Committee's guy. These guys were all voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. What is the Cy Young Award list going to look like this year? Not one player, not one will sniff getting into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Not one.
Hold on, let me think.
Tarek Skubal? You think at the end he'll have Hall of Fame? Nope.
Chris Sale.
That's the National League. I'm talking about this list.
You're talking about the American League. Okay. Yeah, it'd be Skubal, Kotsay. I mean, Kotsay might make a run for Hall of Fame. Who knows, though?
So you got to go to a closer.
Okay, yeah. Then who is he? Oh, Seth Lugo, not a Hall of Famer. No. Having a great season. He's pitching tonight also. But those are probably the 3 guys right now you'd say are the front runners for Cy Young. And I would Skubal isn't great, but Kotsay's pitching for a team that's leading their division. And he has the lowest ERA in baseball since Zach Britton had like a .54 ERA in 2016, and Britton didn't even sniff the Cy Young.
Well, if you're going to not have guys go deep in the games as starters, and you're saying the bullpen is the most important thing, and you're the best guy in the bullpen, how are you not the Cy Young Award winner? Like, that's another thing that's not making sense. If you're saying bullpens are so important, then why aren't the bullpen guys becoming more stars?
And why aren't they up for more? Why aren't they up for the bigger awards?
Why aren't they up for bigger money? If you're telling me these guys are the most important guys, I mean, Mason Miller's Mason Miller. Well,
let's see what does Kotsay make?
I mean, we're turning these bullpen guys into the most important players.
He has a 3.9 WAR this year as a closer.
Well, it just doesn't. They don't know how to.
Kotsay's making this year $2.9 million. He'll make
it doesn't. It's like why would I pay a starting pitcher big money when I'm not going to ride him and I'm not going to pitch him a ton? And the guy that I'm going to, like, how many games? Class A is probably over. I'm going to guess he's over 58. I'd say he's over 58 appearances. Was he?
Yes, 62 games.
He's at 62. He's pitching 62 games this year. These guys are factoring, like Mason Miller is at even with us babying Mason Miller, he's still a far bigger factor than he would be as a starter.
Yes.
And that's where our game is. So if we're going to say that if we're going to diminish the starting pitcher and put more emphasis on bullpens, then we got to start looking at, well, God, you got to have your best guys in the bullpen. Like, why would you spend, like, from a strategy standpoint, why would you spend money on starting pitching? Like right now, I keep saying it. I think people think I'm crazy. I just need guys that can get me. I got to look at it for, instead of a Greg Maddux 27-out strategy, I got to look at an 18-out strategy. Can you give me 18 outs while I'm still in the game? I'm not asking you to go out and win me games. I'm not asking you to do anything but just keep me in the game for 5-6 innings. And I don't want to pay $20, $30 million for that. I want to pay you $5, or I want to pay you the minimum. I can get Beto. How many Betos are out there? How many guys are like Beto out there? How many guys are like J.P. Sears? How many guys are like that? Where you're like, dude, give me 5-6 innings. I'm turning over the bullpen. And then now I'm going to put all my money into guys that I hope or can somewhat stay healthy, blow gas, and get me the critical outs. Until you change the game, this is the way it's going, right? Why would I ever invest? Like, look what we wasted money in Alex Wood and Ross Stripling. Just wasted money. Hell, I would have rather kept Lucas Ursig and not even paid those guys. Can you imagine we still had Ursig the way he's throwing the ball right now with Tyler Ferguson? With you're starting to figure it out with Tyler Ferguson. It's like that's kind of the way. If we want to win now, you want to win baseball games now, beef up your bullpen. Take money, give that guy $3 million and that guy $5 million. If you're saying Kotsay's making $2 million, I just beef up your bullpen. Guy gets hurt, a guy gets hurt. But, put money in starting pitching, why?
Well, I was just looking because we might – Chris Sale's pretty close. I think he has 15 wins, so if he has to win like his next 5 starts. But we might not have a 20-game winner this year, which we had one last year with Spencer Strider. He's hurt. We had one the year before. It was Kyle Wright. I think he's hurt. And then the year before was Luis Ariz, who's not even in baseball anymore. So the number of 20-game winners we're seeing, it just keeps going down because guys aren't pitching deeper in the games. It's going to be wild to see that we might not have a 20-game winner this year. Because, usually, even if you're getting one, you're still getting one guy.
How many guys are going to pitch 30 starts?
I'd have to look at the leaderboard on starts this year. JP Sears will be one. Where's games started? Right now, we have a good amount. Hold on. We have 4 guys at 28.
4?
Oh, there's a lot of guys.
You want me to get excited? Yeah, you want me to get excited?
A lot of guys at 27.
Okay.
It's probably a long leader, but I'm just looking at what Baseball Reference has.
You think that's a lot, huh?
Leader in the clubhouse is Luis Castillo.
You think that's a lot?
That's end of August, so we'll probably get 4 or 5 more starts. So it'll be 32, 33.
No, you think that's a lot of guys?
I'd have to look at the full list.
No, I want your opinion. You think what you just saw is a lot of guys?
No.
If we just go back 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, you think the amount of people going to have 30 starts? There's a reason why you have 800 and something pitchers right now. Because guys aren't giving you those starts.
Fergie Jenkins had 25 complete games in 1974. The leader in the clubhouse this year has 2. There's 3 good for guys that have 2.
Fergie Jenkins has as many complete games almost as guys got starts.
Also true.
So if this keeps and then
he had 29 complete games. So he has more complete games than these guys have starts.
But are you following this? The trend is just going like this. So next year we'll talk about it. Next year we'll talk about it. Next year we'll talk about it. So all we've seen is do this production-wise. I'm not saying good or bad. Just how much guys pitch just continues to go like this. And as long as it continues to go like this, if I had a graph and I keep showing you how much it goes down, the more guys who are established players pitch less means more non-established pitchers. If we had the graph, I guess the graph would go like this. Established guys going like this, non-established guys is going like this. It's going up. How many times do I have to talk about this? And it's like nobody gets it. I bring it up to you and you'll bring up something. I'm like, dude, are you not seeing this? Established guys are going like this in innings and appearances, and guys who aren't established are going like this. It's on the rise. Like if you look at a graph and you say, how's pitching going? Not going in the right direction, and it's not going anytime soon. It's not changing next year. Where do we look at next year? How many the amount of innings and starts this year diminishes next year, the year after that, and then all of a sudden we're laughing about 900 pitchers in a season. How do you use your 40-man? You can't, I don't even know how you do it as a front office. How do you keep track? How do you find enough human beings? How can you use this many players?
I was trying to track this many guys were going to go 200 innings. It's not many. There's a couple guys that are in
the amount of innings is not changing. The amount of outs and innings in a season are not changing. How you get them, that's what's changing. How many people will have 200 innings? How many people are sniffing it?
Logan Webb's at 178 right now. So you figure 3 more starts, he'll be there. But there's not many.
If he makes them.
Yeah.
Right? It's always if. To where these other guys that you look at had 250 plus. So by this point, I'm not even going to get into Gaylord Perry and these guys with 300. But at this point, guys would be well over 200 at this point. We don't even have anybody at 200 with a month to go.
Yeah, we have 3 guys right now over 170. It's Logan Gilbert, Seth Lugo, and then the leader is Logan Webb at 177 and 2/3. And Webb's made one more start than Lugo and Gilbert.
I hope Bob Melvin pitches him the rest of the way, but what if Bob Melvin and the Giants say we're out of it? Seth Lugo's got to go because they're in a battle.
Yeah.
Logan Gilbert's got to go because they're in a battle. Nola's going to take the ball. Castillo's got to put. I mean, you got to hope everything goes right for us to have a couple guys with 200 innings.
We might see a Cy Young winner not have 200 innings like we did last year. Blake Snell had 180, something like that.
Wow. How you feel about that?
It's your baseball.
No. Mr. Strikeouts at fantasy baseball. You love strikeouts, fantasy baseball. Right? Don't you love strikeouts at fantasy baseball? How many pitches does it take to strike somebody out?
Well, strike somebody out. Well, you think theoretically be 3, but it takes more than that usually because guys are wild.
Maddox averaged like 3 pitches per guy.
Yeah, looking to see if our guy pitched in the game today for the Brewers or the Reds, Louder.
All right, there's an interesting question about a Texas Ranger and a guy that, you know, if you're an A's player, you're going to sit and go, you know, I want to be like this guy. There is a guy, and it's not Marcus Semien. There is a guy
it's not DeGrom
that you want to look at as the Rangers, and maybe we overlook him. And are we overlooking him, and it's sad? Who is that player? And who, if you're an A's player, you want to be just like this guy? We talk about it next right here on, I was about to say the A's Clubhouse Show, right here on A's Cast Live.
Walnut Creek. What are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com. This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Linksole has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksole.com. That's linksole.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intended and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network management.
This is the place where you can dance like nobody's watching, win like nobody's business, and get away like you mean it. So what are you waiting for? Come join the party. take that evening out and make it a night you'll never forget. This kind of action can't be beat.
With more sunshine returning, it's time to get outside and make the most of what Cinnabar Hills Golf Club has to offer. Like 27 championship caliber holes tucked in the beautiful hills of San Jose. And take advantage of their amazing Bay Area views for your next special event. It's all for you at Cinnabar Hills Golf Club, an award-winning venue designed to peacefully take you away from the bustle of Silicon Valley. Go to CinnabarHills.com. That's CinnabarHills.com.
Being a Chevron car these days has been quite the adventure. Miami to Seattle, ocean to ocean. I've stopped at so many states and collected so many bumper stickers. Sometimes I feel like a moving passport book. It's just so great what I can do with Chevron with Techron, because it gives me unbeatable mileage and keeps my engine clean. Plus, there are so many Chevrons along the way. Now the only thing I'm worried about is where to go next and where to put all my new bumper stickers. Chevron with Techron, fueled by possibility.
If you're looking for a new mattress, Nest Bedding has you covered. Sleep on the same mattress Hall of Famer Ricky Henderson sleeps on. Nest Bedding is the #1 brand of online mattresses and the Bay Area's favorite mattress store. Take home the Easy Breather pillow. The New York Times calls it their #1 pick. You can navigate their easy-to-use website, nestbedding.com. That's nestbedding.com. Green and Gold fans, use the coupon code Oakland and you get 10% off your entire order. Nest Bedding, love where you sleep.
And the underdogs, Oakland Athletics, win their first championship since they were in Philadelphia in 1930.
Hi, I'm Raleigh Fingers, Hall of Famer, 3-time World Series champion with the Oakland A's and World Series MVP. Winning takes teamwork, skill, and heart. So when you need an ace for a personal injury lawyer that will win you the game, go with the winning team. Call Venardi Zerata at 833-VZ-FOR-ME or go to vzlawfirm.com. Venardi Zerata, the official injury law firm of the Oakland A's.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflows, managing documents, and providing the best-in-class office technology. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. That's ubeo.com.
Streaming from the studio, A's Cast Live continues with Chris Townsend.
You know how you get stuff on your phone, Commander, and everybody out there? The Wall Street Journal has just sent me. Are you ready for this? Brazil has banned Twitter.
Probably.
You call it X.
I'm old school. I still call it Twitter.
You're like
I don't like the way X is set up right now.
You're like Chipper Jones. I'm old school.
Well, I don't use Facebook either, so I guess I am old school.
Oh, you're.
I don't use TikTok.
I just saw this. This literally has just come down from the technology side of Wall Street Journal. Brazil bans X, outlawing access to app for millions. The order follows months of back and forth between social media platform and Brazil's highest court. You know, there's been talk about banning TikTok in this country because of TikTok's ability to get all your information and send it back to China.
Well, it's the stuff I see on Twitter now. It's outrageous. The videos, it's like all the content's being posted on there. There's no restrictions. There's all this fake, I don't want to say fake news, but fake news is being put out there about all kinds of different stuff. It's not the same anymore. And it's just a cesspool of unhappiness.
No, it's not just. It has been. It always has been. You know, because the thing is, it's like the public forum. It's like the public. Well, guess what?
That's what Reddit's for.
The public is a cesspool. I mean, seriously, it's just a reality. No. You should be able to. Well, that became their problem, right? When they start, the minute you start editing it and controlling it, you're now not the public forum. And now there's certain laws that will govern you. Now, when you go, hey, anything goes, that's what it is. Anything goes. Well, when anything goes, anything goes.
Yeah.
Is that dramatic? Is that like profound right there?
Well, see,
but when you're running a business and you're saying how we're going to escape being governed and how we're going to escape all the different regulations and rules and everything, is this is a public forum. And in a public forum, in the town square, anything goes. Now, in real life, the town square, you do bad thing. We have police, we have rules, we have laws. But in the social media world, we have a platform where anything goes. And then all of a sudden, people didn't like how everything goes, so they wanted it regulated. Well, if you start regulating, guess what? It's not a platform where everything goes. But that's misinformation. But that's not. But that all go. But that if you're going to have the anything goes platform, can't regulate it. The minute you regulate it, you're now going to be. Now you're going to end up in courts, and now you're going to have rules and regulations and laws. And so, what do you want? Do you want something where anything goes? Because anything goes can be. We've had like our play-by-play people where they make fake AI versions of it. Anything goes. Like they can make fake stuff about our show. We can't complain because anything goes on a platform unless you want rules and regulation. And then now it completely changes the business model.
Totally understand that part, and I'm with you. The AI stuff is all over social media is crazy. But the thing that really made me open my eyes more was last night, not to go off on a tangent about this or whatnot, but the tragic story about what happened to Johnny Gaudreau and his brother Matthew last night, being struck by a drunk driver, being killed. One of the best American hockey players ever is dead at the age of 31, and people are rushing to put it out there on social media to be first. It's so unbelievable. Like it's so the whole process of it is just so wrong. The journalistic integrity is just so bad that's why I can't stand journalism anymore, because everyone just wants to be first without actually having all the facts. And Twitter's kind of ruining all of that. And then last night, a good example, I'm at this San Jose State Sac State game. Spartan up, 1-0.
It's hard to be Spartan up after you just talk about those guys dying. That was a tragic. I mean, you feel, I don't know his family situation with parents and wives and kids and everything.
He's married with 2 kids.
Oh my God. I mean, I saw that this morning and breaks my 31 years old.
By drunk drive. They're cycling. Not only that, what makes the story even all of it's terrible.
Oh.
They're groomsmen for their sister whose wedding was today. So not to try to make it to bring it to happier times.
But I just want to say this. Here's your problem with all of that. You said journalistic integrity. I need to go back to this is a public forum. There's no such thing as journalistic integrity in a public forum. This is where you want your cake and eat it too. You can't have your cake and eat it too. This is an app, and the app says it's the public forum, anything goes. So when you start talking about, well, what about the journalistic integrity and what about this? No. If you want to regulate it, well, then now it's not what its business model is. But what about all the COVID information? Remember, they were censoring people for COVID, and some of those people were right, however you feel. But the bottom line is, in a public forum, anything goes. What happens in a world of anything goes? You can't say journalistic integrity. What journalistic integrity is there if anything goes? It's like people have lost their jobs because they tweet certain things. Why? It's public forum. So it just goes to show people really don't want the all-out public forum. How many people have referred to Twitter X and said, I can't believe this was said. Wait a minute, it's a public forum. This is what this app was supposed to be. Anything goes. It just goes to show human beings really don't like it. In the end, humans like rules. Humans like regulations. We like it to a certain point, but people don't like Mad Max. That's what Twitter was supposed to be, right? That's what Facebook is. My friends are all going to see what I'm doing, and I'm going to see what they're doing. We'll post whatever, but all of a sudden, once people start posting stuff that you don't like, Now you want it removed. I want this off. I want that. People like rules, right? It's like with children. You've got to establish things and when they go to bed and when they eat and routines. Human beings like that, right? We operate better when we have a place to go every day. We have purpose. We have, right? Like with our kids, we want our kids to have purpose. It's, whether our kids are good at school or not, it's good to send them to school and interact with people. And like, there's ways that, this has all been studied. We all know that routines and rules are good for human beings. But all of a sudden we developed this app called Twitter and you can do whatever you want. And people were all in at first. And then now, and all the craziness in the world has happened. You just said it, journalistic integrity. How can you have journalistic integrity on a wide open platform that supposedly has no rules? And why and why should there be journalistic integrity? There's no rules.
I just think maybe it's because I have an old school way of thinking.
But right, you want some type of rules.
I do feel like Twitter's gotten a lot worse over the last couple of years.
But whatever, the app was set to be no rules, Mad Max.
Well, now people can pay $8 to have a blue check mark, and you think that they're news everyone thinks they're a newsbreaker now because they pay for their verification. Or back in the day, we had verification because we were verified because apparently we were important.
Well, that was another thing. They should have never done that because no one should be verified. This shouldn't be like this is the real person. They tried. That was their screw up, right? Because they tried. Oh, we're going to verify the real people. So what they say is real. Wait a minute, this is a public forum. That's not what it's supposed to be about. It's funny how human beings work and how you design it and how you change it and how because Twitter now Twitter all of a sudden wanted to be recognized truly as a place to get news. Wait a minute. The whole premise of your platform was anything goes. Now you want to be legit. See, that's where that's where people started looking going, wait a minute, if this is what you want to be, then you need to be regulated. And then Twitter stepped back and went, whoa, we don't want to be regulated. Well, wait a minute. You want to be legit and have journalistic integrity, and you want to be able to give news. And it's been fun to watch. I think it's fun to watch. Yeah, it's turned into a cesspool, but that's
the Wild West.
But that's what the open forum is. It is a cesspool. And you're supposed to be able to decide what you like and what you don't like. That's why you can follow and unfollow. But people in the end, deep down, whether they like it or not, they like regulations and they like rules. They like laws.
Yeah. What I was going to go to the pivot before we get back to your tease about the Ranger player. Last night it was me, our good friend Alex Scott, and Brandon Ayuk were all hanging out at the Spartan game last night. That's a newly minted whatever he got 4 for 120. Brandon Ayuk, 3 people down from Alex.
Don't bring up that garbage. I don't want to hear about Niner. Don't spoil San Jose State.
Big win.
Starting
it did not look great. 2 turnovers on the first 2 possessions. Did not look great.
It's the start of the season. Everybody's like, dude, it's how they we pumped them in the second half.
Yeah,
by the way,
new coach, new quarterback.
First time the new coach, because usually the new coach at San Jose State is starting something that's you're starting from a certain point. When's the last time a head coach won?
Well, let's see. I was there for Brennan's debut, and they lost to UC Davis.
When's the last time?
I think you threw it out there to Roxy and I. Was it Ron Turner in like 92?
Back when I was in school is the last time. Terry Shea went where? Terry Shea did a great job, won the California Raisin Bowl. Terry Shea went where? From San Jose State.
Oh, I have no idea.
No, you don't know.
You
don't know Bay Area. You don't know Bay Area. You out-of-towner. He went to Stanford. And Ron Turner took over 1 year, and then he went to the Chicago Bears. But Ron Turner. So anyway, I'm just saying this, and I know some of you don't care because, once again, I realized that, again, being in the bubble and then getting out of the bubble for a minute, going to NBC for 3 days and seeing how, wow, the outside world of the Oakland A's, Oakland sports world, how it works. All I know is this. We're going to Sacramento next year, and I'm not going to want to hear anything from Sac State after we just pumped you. Just letting you know now. I'll be wearing my Spartan gear and just Hornets, stick them, or what's their thing?
Stingers up.
Stingers up. How'd that work out for you?
Yeah, it didn't work out.
Yeah, so
big win.
I'm going up 1-0 to a new market. Thanks for coming.
All right, so your team. We could save the Lawrence Butler thing for later. But
no, I got to play. Cody, if you guys don't know, Cody is the best in the business. There's a reason why years ago When we were planning this thing, we say who we're going to hire. We said we got to go get Cody. And he's the best in the business. Our guests are second to none. But the production and everything around this show, please, what you've put. Lawrence Butler, you guys all love it. I forgot you had it. Let's play it.
2-2 pitch, swung on, drive to right field. That's it, well, just looking up is Espinal, and it's gone. A 2-run homer for Butler, and it's 4-1 Athletics. And there was no doubt about it off the bat. Butler is 15th of the year.
And a breaking ball lifted into right. Back goes Benson at the track, at the wall, and how about that? Second leadoff home run in a week for Lawrence Butler. Number 16 on the year, and it's 1-0 Athletics. Now Lawrence Butler stands in, and he drives one to deep right center, way back, and gone. Butler connects. It's number 17 on the year for Law, with Nick Allen aboard, and they double the lead to 4-0. First pitch swinging, Butler extends the hitting streak to 8 in a huge way with a rocket to right center field.
Fly ball to center field. Creed will go back, still going back near the track. Looks up, and it's gone! Another home run for Butler. It's now 5-1 Athletics. That is his second home run in as many at-bats. And his 18th of the year. Give him his 50th RBI. Oh, is he on some kind of roll right now?
Swung on, blasted, deep down the line and right. And Lawrence Butler has gotten it done. Another 3-homer night for Lawrence Butler. No doubt a mile down the right field line. His third tonight, number 19 on the season. And just like that, this game is tied at 7.
Man, is he special. I mean, the only question was fair or foul. That was inside that right field foul, but what a blast. Another 3-homer game.
Pretty remarkable series there in Cincinnati. What do we call it? The Natty? Or they were 2 years behind. What was your thing? They're 2 years behind and everything.
Well, if the
world ended today.
If the world's ever going to end, go to Cincinnati, because then it'll happen 2 years later. Porkopolis, the Queen City.
I heard Road Trip Mike's call yesterday about what happened with his chili dog.
I mean, maybe they actually got Skyline Chili.
Yeah, he called me to let me know. Then I told him, I said, make sure you call Towny and Jess on postgame and let him know.
Well, he had 14 hours to kill on the drive, so let's see. Did he get there all right?
He said 10 a.m. He was local time. He's expecting to be there, so that would have been like 7 hours ago.
I would call him, but we can't call. Can we call people?
I mean, I could
call him right now. Let's see if he made it there before we get to
Jared.
To Jared.
Maybe let him know we're calling him so he doesn't just get a random phone call or he just ignores it.
These guys all text me all day long, huh? How's that? We're calling you, so answer.
That perfect.
Live on air, because don't we? On radio, we have to. So, by the way, when you ever listen to those morning shows and it's the spoof phone calls,
prank phone calls, yeah.
Yeah, no, you legally have to tell people when they're on the air. So those are all made up. I hate to be like the.
Wait, you're telling me that Lamont Tonelli's prank phone call is not real? It's a little.
No, by law, you have to tell people that they're being recorded and that they're going to be aired, or you can record and air them, then ask their permission. If they say no, you can't air, they can sue the company.
I'm calling.
Do you mean Lamont Tonelli stuff is all staged? Are you saying that?
I think we have.
I would never say that.
I think we might have Road Trip.
They don't have bot content, do they? Hello?
Hello?
I just need to notify you, even though we're streaming, we're not under the same rules. You are live on the air, Road Trip, so I don't need no F-bombs or S-bombs.
Of course, you will get none.
We're checking in to see if you're okay.
I am okay. It took me 14 hours, 27 minutes to get here. We got here in time. Jack Lima, one of the Renegades, woke me up to make sure I was up to get on the road to get this secured. And I got in the stadium, and first thing I got to do was play catch with Joey Estes. Life is great.
Wait, you played catch with Joey Estes today?
Yes, I just finished playing catch with Joey Estes.
Wow.
They had the nets up above the dugout, and so we played catch for about 5 minutes.
Nice. How's he looking?
And he showed me a knuckleball. I told him he's got to throw that knuckleball in the game. So he's got a knuckleball in his arsenal now.
Well, why don't we get you started on a knuckleball and we'll get you in the minor leagues?
Well, them days have come and gone.
What are you talking about? You already traveled all the different games anyway. Why not have you come out and pitch?
Well, if they put me out there for batting practice, I would throw my arm out doing it for these guys.
Hey, are you going to see Lawrence Butler today?
Yes, I will.
Tell Lawrence Butler that I said congratulations and that A's Cast loves him.
I certainly will.
Remember, A's Cast loves him. Make sure you tell him that.
I will tell him the A's Cast loves him, and then I'm going to tell him I'm disappointed his dad didn't get in the van and drive with me, but Jessica said nobody in the van.
Nobody in the van. I hear it. All right, road trip. We just want to make sure you got there.
Thank you, guys, and it's a great trip, and I'll be sleeping in the parking lot tonight.
I love it. Thank you. See you, road trip.
See you later, guys.
That is a long drive.
From Cincinnati, too. I mean, God bless him. God bless him.
God, yeah. I mean, it's like yesterday he was like, because in the postgame show, you guys need to take me the whole way. And I'm like, no chance, my friend. I actually had a high school football game, Willow Glen. My best friend's son's playing. I had to go. Willow Glen smoked Lincoln.
Oh, that's Alex's school.
Smoked Lincoln yesterday. One more year doing the high school stuff, and then I got Cal. I got my other team, Cal, tomorrow.
We're both going to be there tomorrow.
If they take down Davis, we are heading to Sacramento. Just being like, man, come on, Aggies, Stingers up, all this stuff. You guys got to bring your A game.
If only. We got to see if the Spartans play them or Cal plays either of them in basketball this year.
We are a football school. We are not a basketball school.
No, they were good a couple of years ago in basketball.
2 years ago, right?
They were in the CBI.
We're looking for our 4th straight bowl game.
3rd straight.
4th. We've been to 3 straight.
No, they had. There was the 2020, then there was the miss, and then 22 and 23. They were 5-7 and 21. I looked it up. We wrote an article. Alex and I wrote an article about it.
You wrote an article about it.
We started previewing San Jose State football.
For who?
I started the writing website like 8 months ago. We talk hockey and wrestling.
Sorry, I missed out on that. So we went in 2020. Obviously, that was
Mountain West champions.
Rigged.
Yeah.
We got rigged. The bowl game, our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, like 9 players got COVID.
Yeah, then 2021, they were. I'll look it up again, but they were.
What year were we in Idaho freezing our butts off for?
That was 22.
That was 22.
And then last year was
Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah, that we did not make it to.
So 3 straight bowls, 3 out of 4 years. San Jose State.
Yeah,
as we take down Sac
They were
State
5-7 in 2021.
This is going to be a better year than people think. Hey, going to 3 bowl games in 4 years.
I mean.
And I hope Michigan kicks the crap out of our arch rival Fresno. I can't wait that's Saturday, right? 4:00.
Yeah.
That's the big NBC Peacock game.
And then next week, the big game is Boise and Oregon that Laura Britt's doing.
Yeah. Well, hope Oregon takes care of them. I hope Cal smokes San Diego State. And the Mountain West is off and running. Hey, here's the thing that people need to realize is that with the Pac-12 conference being gone, the bottom line is they've got to have college football for the West Coast on Saturday night. We are already, like last night we have always traditionally been one of the teams that is on CBS Sports Network, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're always on that.
Not anymore.
I'm just saying all of our games are going to be Mountain West will be the dominant on television on Saturday night.
You know what they're on now, right? They're on True TV and Max.
Because they got to have content because there's no more Pac-12 after dark. All the Pac-10 teams are going to be in the Big 10, Big 12, and ACC, and those networks, they're not on that late. So they're going to all be playing in the Central and the Eastern time zone, or they'll accommodate them here out west. But the night games, it's going to be all Mountain West.
As it should be. Mountain West after dark.
Exactly. I mean, Jared, I'm sure is going to be – Jared, you're going to be grinding Mountain West football with us this year, correct?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, you know it. I can't wait for Mountain West football. It's what I've been waiting for the last 8 months.
Yes, my Spartans beat Sac State last night. Our one batty bag game. By the way, San Jose State, we're coming out to play Texas next year. I think we're going to do a little road trip to see the Longhorns. By the way, how are you?
Chris, I'm great. How are you guys?
I got to tell you, we're feeling pretty good. You know what we've been through the last couple of years have been really harsh, but ever since the 1st of July and then the All-Star break, A's are playing much better baseball. We're starting to see the next run. It's how it always works around here, right? Bad for a couple of years, then you're good for a couple of years. We're seeing the start of the next run, so things are good for us. For the Rangers, though, obviously the high of winning the World Series, but this is not the type of season you want to have the next year following.
No, yeah, it really has been a disappointing year on a lot of levels. I guess I don't know if it makes it any better or any worse, but it's also surprising in that the biggest challenge for the Rangers has been scoring runs. If you would have told me before the season that the Rangers would, not just miss the playoffs, but not really be in a race when the calendar was approaching September, I would have told you, all right, that probably means that the bullpen just really struggled and the starting pitching depth just, didn't hold up. And it really hasn't been that at all. It's been the lineup, and that was the hallmark of last year's team. And with a lot of the same guys, it just, for whatever reason, has not translated into this year.
One thing I wanted to ask you, because yesterday I saw the day before I saw the graphic on MLB Network. Obviously, Corey Seager, a first-round pick by the Dodgers. We knew uber talented, 6'4", got all the talent in the world. But when I saw that he's the third fastest shortstop in the history of the game to get to 200 home runs, and you're talking about A-Rod and Ernie Banks ahead of him, and two-time World Series MVP, do we not give this kid enough love and enough credit for truly, I know he's had trouble at times staying healthy, but he's had an incredible career.
Yeah, no, we talked about this last night after the game. So when the Rangers signed Adrian Beltre, a lot of people knew he was good, but a lot of his teammates, even now in hindsight, have said, we didn't realize how good he was. He was just kind of a quiet star. Now, it's for different reasons, but I think a lot of similarities with Corey Seager. When the Rangers signed Corey Seager, he had just come off that World Series MVP run in which, he actually did all the work here at Globe Life Field because of the pandemic. But because of the injuries, and that wasn't necessarily the challenge with Beltre, but with Seager, some of that anonymity, maybe that's not the best word, but you get what I'm saying, was because of the injuries. And the fact that he's the third fastest shortstop to 200, but he's doing it here, at his age, is because of the injuries, right? He hasn't played 150 games a year every year of his career. But, yeah, when healthy, this guy is – I don't know. People might think I'm crazy, but this guy is probably one of the 5, no worse than one of the 10 best hitters in baseball. But I think you'd really have to convince me he's not one of the 5 best hitters in baseball. If you take what he did last year and then this year, his first 38 games – coming off of surgery with 0 spring training, essentially, it took him a little bit to get going. But his last 100 or so games, he's basically been the same guy he was last year. I mean, it's unreal what this guy's able to do. And I don't know that, anyone truly realized it, maybe other than the Dodgers and some people in the NL West who saw him regularly because of the health. But this guy is an incredibly special hitter. It's not just the stats, right? There are guys who put up stats, you watch him, you're like, well, obviously you're really good. I see your numbers. But then there are certain guys you watch him and you're like, I get it. And when you watch Corey Seager, it's really tough to miss.
I mean, you're on a list with Ernie Banks and A-Rod. You're a 2-time World Series champion. And I'm like, I shame on me, right? Because I've watched it. Because in L.A., he was a kid around stars.
Yeah.
Right? Now he's the star at Texas. And I just think about what he has done in his career Just tell us, because if you say Mark, I can tell you Marcus Semien is a leader by example. No one works harder than him. And if he's out there busting his ass every day, you know everybody else is going to be there. I know all about Marcus Semien. I've known him for years. What's Corey Seager like?
He's quiet, and he's not at all going to look for attention. So perfect example. After the game yesterday, hits his 200th career home run. Leslie McCaslin is our dugout reporter for the game in Chicago, and she asked him, Corey, 200 home runs, what does it mean? And I think his answer was, yeah, that's fun, but how about Nathan Eovaldi pitched a great game, blah, blah. I mean, literally had zero desire to talk about himself. His teammates love him. I think when he first signed here, there was a story early on that Corey does his own thing. He doesn't engage with teammates, and that just could not be further from the truth. Now, he does do his own thing, right? He is on his own program when it comes to his pregame preparation as a hitter, but this isn't basketball, right? Like, you don't need to – it's not like there are 4 guys out there trying to work on their half-court offense and Corey Seager's not willing to participate. This is baseball. He doesn't need to hold hands with everyone to work on his hitting. Obviously, what he does works. He is incredibly focused and driven. It's not traditional. It's not the standard way you would expect it, but you can't say anything other than this guy works his absolute tail off. He just doesn't do it in front of the cameras. He doesn't need the attention in that regard. And I think what jumps out to me is, again, his teammates love the guy. He is, he's not going to do it with the camera rolling, but he is one of the funniest guys in that clubhouse. He is super competitive. He's the guy who's always in the mix in the card games or, whatever it is that's going on. So, it's not his personality to let the world in. And so I think his home run in game 1 of the World Series last year, when he showed just this rush of emotion, was so important. I mean, forget the home run. Yeah, that's an iconic moment in our franchise's history. But I think it was also important for our fan base to see that from Corey, because he just isn't going to give you a lot of that. But if you were to, take some time and talk to him, he's got a ton of personality. He's very funny. He's very engaging. And it's really fun to talk baseball with him, specifically hitting. He's just not going to necessarily be the first one to share that when the cameras are rolling.
Yeah, and after the parade, that dig on Bregman was pretty good too.
America loved that. Oh, baseball fans had to love that because, who likes the Astros, right? Nobody other than Astros fans.
No,
that was a great punchback for sure.
They can try and rebrand as Space City all they want. Nobody likes those guys, and no one's going to like them. All right, so position players we know, like you got young, talented guy, but it's like the pitching just can't stay healthy. It's like Jacob deGrom and Scherzer and these names that you thought would be there for you, they're not going to be there for you.
Yeah, so deGrom, good news for the Rangers. Not that it's going to help this year necessarily, but, he should be back on a major league mound, if not next week, the week after. His rehab's going well, and it will be great just for him to knock some of the rust off in advance of next year. Hopefully he can stay healthy. On the flip side, I don't know if we see Max Scherzer again. He might have thrown his last pitch of the season, last pitch as a Ranger perhaps, and I know he wants to play after this year, but, at some point, your body could get in the way of that. So you might have some tough decisions to make. I hope, and frankly, Chris, the fact the Rangers starting pitching has been as good as it's been is a testament to the depth that Chris Young and the front office built because of all these injuries. But yeah, I think, everyone other than Andrew Heaney, who has been a starting pitcher for the Rangers this year, has been on the IL, and that's not easy to navigate. I think that's hurt the bullpen for sure. But even if you've gotten good production, the fact that you didn't get it from Jacob deGrom this year, obviously takes away from the potential of what this rotation can be. And I think the Rangers are hopeful they can get a healthy year out of Jacob deGrom next year. And if they do, the sky's the limit with what he's able to achieve. We've seen guys now in their mid to late-ish 30s still achieve at a high level. And there's no reason why with a fresh UCL, Jacob deGrom for a couple years, can't go back to being that guy.
I asked Mark Kotsay this, and that's coming up after you. We taped it earlier because obviously how close Mark Kotsay and Bruce Bochy are.
Yeah.
And I asked him, because we'll see the Rangers at the end here in Oakland, the last series in Oakland. And I'm like, well, Bruce Bochy's accomplished everything. I don't know if I think he has 1 year maybe left on his deal. Do you think this could be it for Bruce Bochy and his unbelievable career?
It's a great question. So our general manager is a free agent after this year, and hopefully an extension gets worked out between now and the end of the year. It's starting to become a story here locally. He helped lead the first ever World Series championship team in franchise history. I would think he deserves it. In a weird world in which he didn't come back, and I don't know what or why, that would be the case, but if it was, maybe, that would also, Bruce Bochy would say, well, I don't want to work for another GM. But anything short of that, I mean, Bochy's talked, he's talked as if he's coming back, right? He's talked, whether it's on the record or just in casual conversation about next year. And he's healthy. He doesn't, when you watch him walk out to the mound, you think, gosh, this guy's not in good health. But that's a guy who's had double knee replacement. He actually is. I mean, talking to him, he is very healthy. And so I think, his wife, Kim, appears to be on board. He's on board. I think he'll be back. He's got, like you said, 1 more year with the deal. I think he'll be back. And I think a part of it, too, is even though this has been a down year, I don't think there's any reason to believe this team can't go back to competing at a high level next year. When you look at who's coming back, who's under control, we talked about the rotation with Jacob deGrom, Tyler Mahle. Hopefully, Nathan Eovaldi, I know, is going to be target number 1 for them this offseason. It'd be tough for Bruce Bochy to look at the roster and not think that this team can compete. And if it was rebuild mode, I think, all right, maybe he's not coming back. I think he's going to give this team 1 more year. And frankly, Chris, whether it's with the Rangers or someone else, I don't know. I'm not convinced that Bruce Bochy's done after next year because he does seem to be healthy. He does seem to be energized being back in the dugout. And, I think that, you give him a team that can try and win. I think he wants to keep doing this.
I mean, you start looking at 2025. Obviously, we're doing that, and I'm sure you guys are talking about what you want to see the rest of the way. But, I mean, I don't even know who's going to be running Seattle. I don't know if Jerry Dipoto is going to survive this. They still don't have the offense. The Astros are getting older. You guys could be in a retool mode trying to redo it again. Look out for the A's because all of a sudden this young talent's starting to grow up and starting to put up some real numbers here. I think the Angels – with the rally monkey right here, the Angels will still be the Angels. But I think 2025 will be anybody's game in the American League West.
Chris, I've been really impressed with the A's. Not just that run at the beginning of the year where all of a sudden, they're in second place of the division. And then I know it tailed off a little bit. But, we've talked about it as the Rangers have struggled and slid. And all of a sudden, not too far ahead of the A's and the Angels. And you start looking at what the A's have done. The Angels, I have no clue. But the A's, I mean, that the A's are not going to be a rollover team next year. And I don't know, obviously I know next year is going to be challenging for a lot of reasons. And I imagine A's fans have felt the love from the rest of the baseball community for, what this year means and what next year is going to represent. But Chris, I don't know. I mean, are the Rangers better than the A's right now? I mean, I can't tell you for sure that they are. In terms of this year, I know the record's a little bit better. What, by five games? But if you look at the last couple months, I mean, my guess is the A's have a better record than the Rangers, and there's a lot of really exciting young talent. The Rangers just played the White Sox, and last year's A's team, I don't want to compare to this year's White Sox team. The last year's A's team wasn't good, was really bad, but there you could squint and be like, all right, hey, Zach Geloff, he's fun, and this guy's fun and whatnot. Just playing the White Sox, there was nothing enjoyable about the White Sox, like not a single thing. And I hate it for that fan base. Yeah. I hate it for the players. I mean, that front office, I don't know what the direction is, but this series, I'm excited to see certain guys with the A's. You don't need to squint. You can just open your eyes and be like, all right, I see this. I see this guy and that guy and this guy. And hopefully they can keep him around because, yeah, you're right. I don't know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know based on your question. But, just from the perspective of someone in Texas, we're by no means sleeping on the A's going into next year at all.
All right, let's end on this. I know you got to go. You got to get to your broadcast. Everybody every year builds up the Cowboys. Cowboys have not been to the Super Bowl since I was in college. Would you bet your house that this is finally the year that the Cowboys finally make it to the Super Bowl?
No, the Cowboys are a joke. It's crazy. I mean, Jerry Jones thinks he's the shrewdest GM in the league, and he is probably the least shrewd. He has put that organization in a financial bind with the way he's handled the extensions for certain players and the timing. I mean, he's got a lame duck coach, a quarterback who's a free agent to be, and they had a terrible offseason. I know you don't need to win the offseason to have success in this league, obviously. But no, Chris, Cowboys are going to have to wait at least another year to win a Super Bowl, and it might be another several years as long as Jerry's calling the shots.
But don't worry, as a longtime Raider employee that I was, as Al Davis would always say, the greatness is in our future.
Well, it's certainly not in the present for the Cowboys. I feel pretty confident about that. Maybe they make the playoffs. I don't know. Barely. Maybe. But, yeah, the Cowboys are not going to be a threat. But they're going to lead every talk show, every national football show. Oh, my gosh, the Cowboys scored 6 points in the fourth quarter. Maybe they're back. What a great last possession. It's a joke, but I get it because people eat it up, I guess. I don't know.
I know. It's got to be frustrating. Whether you're with the Mavericks, the Stars, or the Rangers, it's got to be frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Rangers, the Stars, and the Mavericks have all won a championship more recently than the Cowboys, but you know how football is.
Hey, we always appreciate the time. Have a great broadcast today. Are we going to see you out in Oakland?
Oh, I hope so. I don't want to miss that. That'd be a really special series. I mean, I hate that it's special for the reasons it is, but pay respects for sure out in Oakland.
All right, we'll see you out here in the Bay Area. Have a good series.
Hey, thanks, guys. Take care. Go Trojans. Fight on.
Yeah, what? You're a Trojan?
Chris, we've talked about this. I went to USC.
Oh, my God. Are you fired up for Big Ten football?
I mean, I'm USC Rutgers. The history of that matchup is really USC Maryland. I can't wait. I mean,
I can't wait. Saturday morning, super early on the cold tundra of Iowa, USC.
Yeah.
In the cornfields.
Yeah, you think us? I mean, I'm from Dallas, but I guess I spent 4 years in Southern California.
Yeah.
I don't know if those Southern California Beach Boys are going to be ready for the Midwest weather right away, but I hope so. I can only trust in Lincoln Riley. LSU tomorrow, Sunday.
Big game.
It'll be an interesting entree into this season. Go from the SEC to the Big Ten. I mean, that's going to be lots of fun.
I totally apologize. I forgot you're a Trojan. We can talk. I've been saying to all my friends who are USC people, I'm like, are you excited to get that first piece of merch, whether it's the hat, the shirt, that doesn't have Pac-12 but has Big Ten on it?
It's so bizarre. Hey, I understand why they did it. The Pac-12 was the Titanic. I mean, obviously, that conference sunk, but it's weird, right? There are gonna be some fun matchups. It's gonna be a gauntlet. It's just weird to think of, and it's not football even. It's the other sports. You're losing some of the history and the rivalries and the tradition, like baseball, for instance. But I guess it is what it is. Nothing I'm gonna do about it. Larry Scott's the worst commissioner in all of sports, and that's what you get when Larry Scott runs your conference.
How about this? I just dropped my twins. They just went to college for the first time. They're going to Cal and Stanford in the ACC.
Yeah. I mean, how bizarre is that?
Well, because you've always wanted to see Wake Forest Cal.
Yeah. I mean, I love all the kids at Berkeley. They go to the Atlantic Ocean on off days, right? Like it's crazy, but I mean, it is what it is.
All right, be well. We'll see you out here in Oakland. You take care. Good luck against the Bayou Bengals on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll need it. We'll need all the luck we can get over in Vegas.
Take care.
See you guys.
Great stuff. Great. So, we have a good show today.
So what Jared said there, if you're a Bears fan, you should have heard that. He said Southern California Beach Boys can't handle Caleb Williams is going to be a bust. Playing Chicago. You heard it here. Don't draft him in fantasy. Caleb Williams a bust. Beach Boys can't handle the cold weather.
Well, I wouldn't really say he's a beach guy.
He was at Oklahoma before he went to.
Yeah, I don't think he grew up on a surfboard.
I can't believe you're not excited for Cal and Georgia Tech.
No, I'm excited. Cal and the U.
That's a big.
Now
game.
I do have U merchandise because I went to a Miami against. It was one of the directional Florida schools. with the great Raider Vito. It was either Central Florida or South Florida. It was some directional Florida school. I was at, I call it Joe Robbie. You call it Hard Rock. It'll always be Joe Robbie to me. I went to a University of Miami football game. It was either South Florida or Central Florida.
Central Florida. Isn't that Catronio's alma mater? I'm pretty sure.
I'm saying it's one of the directional Florida schools. And I sat there. Gino Toretta, the Heisman Trophy winner, got me in the club level, got us. And I got Miami hats because I went in there. I was like the U, and I started, but I can't wear my U gear to the Cal U game with my child being now a Cal cheerleader, and I have Cal gear. I'm now all Cal.
I can't wait to see this on Saturday tomorrow when I take pictures.
I got a Cal polo. I got a couple Cal shirts.
You and Bob Melvin are hanging out on the sidelines.
I've done nothing but rip Cal for 30-something years, but now I'm an investor in the university.
Oh, maybe I'll see you down.
I'm just not an investor. I'm a major investor in the university. Put it this way, for all these Cal honks like Bob Melvin, like Marcus Simeon, like Mark Canna, like Roxy Bernstein,
Grant Holman,
like Joe Stiglitz,
Grant Holman,
I will pay more money to the University of Cal than any of them ever did. Simeon and Canna got a free ride. Melvin got a free ride. I will pay more money to the University of California, Berkeley, than all those guys combined. So, yeah, I didn't go to Cal, and I played against Cal. But you know what? I'm an investor in this school. I don't want to hear these people ride me about Cal. They all went for free. I got to pay for it.
You forgot, the thing we forgot to ask Jared about, too, because we're talking about Dallas.
Yeah, you don't even want to get into that because you know it's true.
Dallas football.
And you know what? It costs a lot more to go to Cal and to house kids than when those guys went to school.
I don't doubt that at all. Forgot to ask him about how he feels about TCU Stanford tonight.
TCU's going to roll.
Sonny Dykes is going to get his revenge for all the years that Cal couldn't beat Stanford.
I can't wait for Stanford to come down, and we're going to kick the crap out of Stanford at San Jose State.
Last game of the year, Bill Walsh legacy game.
We're going to smoke. We are going to whoop them. Whoop them.
Sac State beat Stanford last year.
Yeah. That's what everybody tries to, watch out. Sac State beat Stanford. How'd that work out? 42-24 was the final?
Yeah, because I left them right before they scored the last touchdown.
Don't be trying to scare me with Sac State. Don't come down to the South Bay from Sacramento and think you're going to get yours. You may get some in Palo Alto. You ain't getting it downtown at Spartan Stadium. See, we talk about that stuff, and it's amazing. Like, we're out of the bubble. I know we're going to get to Mark Kotsay here. It's like crazy. Our A's Oakland bubble is nuts. It's nuts. It's literally nuts. Like, there's this thing going around, and I got this email. It's like, this thing's nuts. It's nuts. But you know what? Everybody outside this bubble does not care. They do not care at all. It is amazing inside the bubble. It is just consuming people's lives. You get outside the bubble, which is the majority of the millions.
Thank you, Rock.
Was there 8 million people in the greater Bay Area and all the counties?
Something like that, yeah. I haven't checked the most recent census numbers, but.
Ooh, the recent census was not good. You can read articles about it. But the millions, they have no idea. It's weird. Like, just going over to NBC is like a different world than because I'm used to going to the Coliseum every day, right? I'm used to living in this world that we talk about it, and it's always, just this person tweeted this, and these did it, and everything, and then I leave that bubble, and nobody cares. And it was crazy. Like, you go over to NBC, and it's like, Niners are starting. They're worried about the 53-man roster. Steph Curry just signed an extension. He's going to be old, making 60 whatever million. And the Giants are happy trails to you. They're done. But over in our world, you'd think, Bobby Melvin's first year. Happy trails to you. I was there. Was it Taylor? Tyler Rogers is on waivers.
Tyro Estrada.
Farhan, I don't know, man. Juan Soto, really, you think? I think it's time to sing Happy Trails to the Giants of 2024. You're not better than the Padres. You're not better than the D-backs. And you're not better than the Dodgers.
D-backs got a big series this weekend.
We'll get into that. You're in fourth place. You're only better than the Colorado Rockies.
They got a big series tonight, though, the Giants do. Big one.
Do they got the Rays? Or who do they got?
The Fish are in town, and you know who's with them, probably. It's a Gabe Kapler revenge series. Wouldn't you love the Marlins and Kapler to bury the Giants this weekend?
They're already buried.
Bury even more.
Like, they're not even, like, last night, MLB Network put up the wild card standings. They didn't even put the Giants on there as at the below the teams chasing. They're not even put on the graphics anymore. I mean, how about that? Like, is there a market that is allowing? I mean, how is it possible the Giants talk the game that they talk, and then have the season they have, and now everybody's just, oh, it's time for Niner football? That it really kind of shows you what kind of market the Bay Area is. Like, people are not outraged. Like, how are you in fourth place?
With the money you spend.
How? How are you in fourth place?
Well, it goes back to...
Hey, Warriors didn't make the post. What did the Warriors do last year?
Playing game. Couldn't beat the Kings.
That's not the postseason.
No. Couldn't beat the Kings.
Oh, but Curry's got it. It's like... And maybe that's more healthy than how the hardcore markets deal with it. But really, sports markets would be frying their ass right now and not wanting to listen to. They just said they had the best pitching. But we're fine. We're going to make a run at this. We got the best pitching. And then two of their pitchers, boop, on the IL. I mean, it's like, and no one holds them accountable. Who's really holding them accountable? No one holds our team accountable. That's been like that for years now. But they're the Giants. They say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and they can just mosey into the offseason okay. It's just unbelievable. They're in fourth place. They're behind. Padres are third, D-backs second, Dodgers third. They're in fourth. They're a major market, big money team who's in fourth place, and they're just going to exit out the side door, and nobody's going to talk about it because it's now time for Niner football.
Shows you that doesn't matter if you spend money. It doesn't mean you're going to win.
Nope. It's unbelievable. So, yeah, I'm just going to let you guys know, for all of our hardcore and all the stuff that's going on, you get out of the bubble. They don't care. And, or they may care a little bit, but they hardly know really what's going on. And then when you go back into our bubble and it's like, isn't it a trip?
Yeah.
You were over there with me.
Yeah.
Like, they're not sweating any of the things we sweat.
Not at all. It's, well, Ayuk signed or not? This before he signed. Or, well, there's no Warrior talk because this is the Steph Curry thing he wasn't able to sign the extension until recently anyway. So yeah,
I was there when his extension was. Yeah. It was yesterday.
Yeah, it was that, and then Ayuk signed it. So well, you were there in the thick of all of it.
I did. That's all I heard. I mean, it wasn't like there wasn't one thing, and this is the cable channel that has all the teams, right? Where else are you going to get the information other than the nightly news on a 2-minute sports thing, which that hardly gets talked about. This is the hub of this is NBC Bay Area in California. Nothing. And then it's like I take the magical bus ride back into our world and it's chaos. I'm getting these emails. I'm just like, what is going on? It's chaos. We're coming down to it. So as much as we think the chaos is coming down for these last couple homestands, the rest of the Bay Area is like, People think we're going to Vegas. There's people who don't even know we're going to Sacramento next year. They think we're going to Vegas.
I get asked all the time. So 1 year in Sacramento, huh? I'm like, no, 3. But
I mean, they have no idea. How is that possible that In our bubble, it's the craziness, and outside our bubble, it's just apathetic. Nobody cares. Like, what's going on? It doesn't really affect me. What does that tell you? I don't know. It's like you need somebody who studies people. Like, how is it that to this one group of people, this is the most crazy? I mean, I don't even like I'm not taking, but like the Ballers are tweeting out that they're the one team that's going to be in the playoffs. They don't even realize that the San Jose Giants are. It's because they wouldn't even consider that because they're in the bubble. The Ballers are in the Oakland bubble and the chaos and, the Giants didn't make it and the A's don't make it. And they don't even realize that like an actual legitimate minor league affiliate of a major league team that's been around forever is going to be in the playoffs. And they put out a tweet like that. And you're like, well, it doesn't surprise me because they're in the Oakland bubble. The Oakland bubble. When you're in that bubble, you don't even realize everything that's going on around. Is that a fair way to put it?
Yeah, I mean, we see it all the
like
time.
Like whoever tweeted that, like you didn't even think about the San Jose Giants. They're not. This isn't independent ball. These are San Francisco Giant prospects who play for a minor league team that's been around forever, back to the San Jose Bees or what. I played at Municipal Stadium. It's where San Jose State plays. Like they wouldn't even think of that because that doesn't register because San Jose Giants, San Francisco Giants, that world is not the Oakland world. It's not in the Oakland bubble. So they wouldn't even think about it. So when they tweeted it out, and they probably don't care because once again, it goes to the cesspool known as X. But it was like clearly a comment that's made from somebody that's in the bubble that doesn't see the bigger picture. So it was weird to be out of it for a couple of days. But don't worry, we're right back in it.
Yeah, we're in it again.
We're right back in it. Right back in it for where are we at? 20. How many games? So the last game is September 29th in Seattle. How many games we got left?
So what's our record now? 58 and something.
We are 58. Oh, by the way, you all owe me money tonight because I'm back hosting. Jessica's been doing a great job for me as I've been doing a little TV. I'm back tonight, and the theme of the story is you owe me money. You owe me money. You owe me money. I told all of you, bet the house on the over. I told you, in spring training, Mesa, Arizona, I looked you into your eyes, and I looked into that beautiful beard of yours.
That's when I had a beard still.
And I said, bet the over. Bet everything you got. Didn't I? I said, this is easy money. This is easy money. Easy. I've made a bunch of people have bet it, what I'm being told, and they're like, oh, my God. It was easy.
Our good friend Joe Fortenbaugh from ESPN put out there. He goes, best bet of the year. He put it out there about the A's win total.
We're not even in August and won the bet. I can't bet it because I'm a baseball employee and I can't tell you anymore. I didn't know at that time I couldn't, but I did. You have a month left and you've already won the bet. You've got how many games left and you won the bet? That's how good the bet is. That's how bad Vegas and Mike Farron of SiriusXM did not believe in the A's this year.
Oh, we got to play that.
57.5.
We got to book Farron and play that audio.
Even if you got 58, even if you got 58.5, you're going to win it this weekend with time to spare.
You know,
that is a dramatic bad beat for the desert and the casinos.
Yeah. Did you know the White Sox are like 30 something games out of I think it's 37 games out of fourth place.
It's hard to believe someone could be that much worse than we were last year.
Oh, they are. I mean, they was had a walk-up the other day, and Travis Jankowski made a great catch to rob Andrew Vaughn of a walk-off. I mean, it's not.
It's really hard to believe because last year was so awful with 50 wins. They're not even going to sniff that.
No, they probably will break the 62 Mets. 40. What were they? 41 and 120 and 2, or they had a tie or whatever they were.
Oh, you see them getting 40. They're at 31 or 30?
They're 31, I think.
30. I can tell you right now. The standings. Chicago White Sox are 31 and 104. You think they can win 9 more?
No.
That's bad.
All right, time for Mark Kotsay. We're getting close.
Do we got anything else? By the way, I also want to commend Seth Brown, by the way. Brownie. You call him Sarge. 13 RBIs last 13 games, hitting 336. OPS through the roof, it means something when you're a veteran guy who got sent down and wore it, brought back. It means something. I mean, those 2 home runs in game 2 to dead central, one off San Mol, a left-hander, lefty going lefty, taking him deep to center. I mean, 2 home runs to dead center field in one game, and to do what he's been doing, I'm happy for Seth Brown because it says a lot when your leader is took the demotion and came back and has done what he's done. That means a lot. So yes, Lawrence Butler, awesome. JJ Bleday, awesome. But Seth Brown needs to get some love here.
Totally agree. I mean, you all know, I mean, between our text row, you meet Eric Farrell from our authentication. Every time Brown does something, I send it to you guys. So I'm glad to see what he's been doing. He's another guy that went down, handled the demotion well, came back, and has been hitting well, just like Lawrence Butler.
I don't remember the date, but I do remember last time JP Sears threw in Arlington. I don't know if it was the last time, but one of the times this year, he had a no-no into the 7th.
Yeah.
That was the game where guy gets the base hit, and as the ball was bouncing, Mark Kotsay was already halfway out.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't bring it up. I'll do it quickly before we get to Kotsay. Johnny nailed another hot take.
Oh, Johnny's hot take was dead on. Johnny smoked by that.
Yeah, I think it ended up being 14 home runs hit in that game. I think it was 14 ME. And because Law hit the home run in the 9th inning. So I think it was 14 total home runs were hitting that 3.
Congratulations to Johnny. But we'll give him his flowers, as they like to say. On Tuesday with the hot takes. They had the graphic yesterday in the game. Dallaire had the graphic, NBC Sports California, that I can't remember the year, but whatever the year was, more home runs have been hit at the Great American Bandbox.
Small park.
Than Bandbox. That's what I call it. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's okay. It's Ring Central. We're
All
fine.
Has been more home runs have been hit at that ballpark in Cincinnati than any other ballpark, and that includes Coors Field. When you're giving up more home runs than Coors Field,
that's not good.
Is that just players? Because you know what? They've actually had good teams. Whatever that date was, I don't remember the date. They've actually had good teams where the Rockies haven't. So I don't know. What is up with that? Like, why would you design something that bad? Why and how? Like, you look back on it, like how does that benefit you to make the ultimate homer dome? Like, how's that going to ever help your pitching?
It doesn't. I mean, the Reds have had, like, over the years, they've had pretty good. I mean, Hunter Green was one of the best ERA guys in the league before he got hurt.
All right, time for the Mark Kotsay Show. Thank you, everybody, for watching A's Cast Live and listening to A's Cast Live. We're back on Monday.
No, Tuesday.
We off Monday?
Labor Day. So it's an earlier game.
What time's the game?
4.
I'm not off. Oh, you're off. See? He acts like he's got the same schedule. Hey, have a great off day. Enjoy your 3-day weekend.
You'll really like what I got for pregame for us that day, though.
Oh,
Ray Fosse with Dan Wilson.
Love it. The leader of men.
See, told you'd like it.
Great. 2 great catchers. All right, coming up next, it's the Mark Kotsay Show, and then A's baseball from the ballpark in Arlington. The A's taking on the Texas Rangers. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. We'll see you on Tuesday. The Mark Kotsay Show brought to you by Nest Bedding. Love where you sleep. If you need a mattress, you need pillows, you need sheets, all your bedding needs, you go to nestbedding.com or check out their location in the Bay Area. Back in Texas, how are you, Kots?
I'm doing well. It's been a while since we've been here. This travel for the season just seems like it's been kind of spread out. Like, we played the Angels, back-to-back months, and now I don't think we've been in Texas since April. So,
yeah, you didn't play the Angels for the first 80 games of the season. I think they were game number 181, which is obviously the official halfway point. And then you played them like every day for 2 weeks, and now they're gone.
Yeah. Now we don't get to see them again. I know. And but I think, overall, it's a Friday. It's Friday day.
A little groove going. Hey, wait. Let's be honest. Things are good. I know yesterday's loss was really tough in Cincinnati, but the overall goal is to win series. You took 2 out of 3. And the emergence of Lawrence Butler, just yeah, you can look at what he's doing, but there's something about this kid that's so infectious. I say it all the time. When he does well, it's a great reflection on the organization because you drafted him, you raised him. Every coach has been a part of his career all the way up. And to see him doing what he's doing, the 3 home runs, just the monster series, but just talk about what he means for the organization, because it's like everybody's had a hand in his success.
Yeah, and that's something that we as an organization should be very proud of. I also think it's, Lawrence's accomplishments, and that no one needs to take credit for those just because we laid hands on him. The player himself has really matured and grown. I saw Lawrence when we drafted him, and I've followed Lawrence. I've been a big Lawrence Butler fan. That. And, just the maturation process for him this season has been unbelievable. And, I think everyone has watched him evolve as a player and understand, when you watch him, he takes failure personally and he takes it to heart. So to watch him have success and the joy that he's having playing the game right now, it's really been fun and uplifting, really, to see him perform the way we all knew he was capable of performing, and to have some consistency to finish this season off would be electric.
The reason I always bring that up about him and the organization, like this show, he's been watching this show since A-ball. Like when I first met him, he already knew who I was. He's like, I've been Bobby Crosby and I watch in Midland. And then he's been watching. I mean, it's like he's been such a great part of this organization. It's so special. And I think about that smile. I think about the personality. And when you look at people like Lawrence and you look at a lot of guys in the clubhouse, I mean, I think there's a reason why things are really starting to turn around. So you can look at his accomplishments, and then what a series, what a run. I mean, J.J. Bleday in his last 15 games is hitting .322, home runs, extra base hits, the diving catch and the throw. Your young guys, especially your outfield, now talk about J.J. Bleday. We've talked about him before, but he's now taking it to another level.
Yeah, and I talked about, how impressed I've been with JJ, and from last season to this season, the progress he's made, not just offensively, but defensively. And yesterday's play, solidified that he is continuing to get better as a center fielder, and really a game-changing play there in the 6th inning. And, I think he's still got a lot of room to improve. I really do. And I think he's going to. It's nice to see both of these young players really take control of their positions and just really start to, you can start to see an outfield that could really have impact on this organization going forward.
Yeah, man. I mean, Lawrence has just been incredible. As you said, JJ can get better, and at that point, you start talking about all-star level. It makes it sad about Andujar, right? Because Andujar really was supposed to be something so special. He didn't strike out in spring training. At the very end of spring training, he gets hurt, and then he finally gets back, and he's raking. And I know he's been playing with this core injury. That's kind of tough news because your outfield has just been so good. So just talk about for Andujar, staying healthy has been the one problem with his career. And when you have a core injury, boy, that's tough to play with. And I know you mentioned to the media, like, starts affecting you day to day, right? You can't sleep, you have issues. Once it starts affecting you off the field, then you got some problems.
Yeah, and Miguel really did try to play through it, which I love that. I have so much respect for him trying to just grind through this injury, wanting to be on the field, wanting to be in the lineup. And it just got to the point, like I said, that it was impacting his sleep. And at that point, we made the decision to get him looked at. And, as you said, Towny, really injuries have impacted this kid's career. It's unfortunate. I went through 2 seasons in 2007 and 2009 of back surgeries that really impacted that portion of my career, right in the middle of where I felt like, I could have really excelled in those years playing, but it's part of the game. I think Miguel will take this offseason and get himself healthy. And, it's of my opinion that we bring him back and, see what he can do next spring training.
I understand there's been trends at times to have guys who are managers, who are leaders, who have never played. I'm not saying you have to play. I'm not saying you have to be a great player. Bob Melvin would tell you, he joked all the time that he wasn't a very good player. Billy Beane would say the same thing. But, and of course, you had a terrific career, but there is something about the fact that you played. You know what those injuries are like. That back thing still affects you to this day. So you understand when these players are going through it and what it means for them now and what it means for them for the rest of their life.
Yeah, for sure. It doesn't go away. It definitely, impacts the golf game for sure, right, Towny? But it's part of the career. It's part of going through this grind of 162 games, and it takes a lot of physicality. And if you're watching the games on a daily basis, you will understand what I mean when I say this game has become even more physical. The demands of the game, not that they've changed, but just the pure strength that guys have now on a consistent basis. It's pretty remarkable.
Your team, the one thing that you can really look at right now at second half numbers, obviously when people are watching this, you can look at 28-20 since the start of July. Since the All-Star break, you have one of the best records in all of baseball. Thing that you can look at is how much better you guys have gotten on the road. You're playing way better on the road. Why do you think you're playing better on the road?
Well, I think probably the bulk of if I think back through the schedule, I would say when we started to really get impacted with the injuries, so we were 17-17, and then I think those next 45 games, we really hit a skid. And in those games, I would assume that most of them were road trips, we've always played, the A's have always played well at home. Like they've it's part of our culture. It's part of what we embrace in the Coliseum, playing at home. We've always felt like that was an advantage, but I like the fact that we are playing better on the road. I can't put a reasoning behind it. I just think that the timing of us, as a club, having consistency in the rotation, solidifying the back end of the bullpen. And, yesterday you saw the result of when you are winning, you are using your leverage guys on a daily basis. There's days when you're going to have to ask guys to step up that haven't done that and haven't been in that moment, which was, Grant Holman yesterday. But, and now having, a guy like Scott Alexander and Austin Adams, two veteran guys that really have had a big impact on our bullpen, a big part of that success and those leveraged roles now are not with us. So you're seeing a little bit of that as well as we're going through this process right now.
Let's end on this. I was doing double duty yesterday, right? So I did TV, I did radio, and, in a loss like yesterday, a lot of people, in the past, it would just, that sucks. It's another loss. But people were angry. I know people were angry with you guys. And it's like, I love it because there's starting to be expectations again. It's been a while since we've really had expectations. Just talk about how that's a good thing, that I'm sure you weren't happy about it because you're now expecting to win. And that's where you want this ship headed.
Listen, I'm not happy about any loss. So whether we get beaten, walked off, or whether we get our ass beat, I'm not happy about a loss. I've never been happy about a loss. I like that there's a higher expectation level for sure, but there's never not been a higher expectation level on our end. We've gone through 2 years of really challenging seasons, and to see this turn around and to see us, playing the type of baseball that the fan base wants us to play, that expects us to play. I mean, if you look at it, we've got 9 rookies in our bullpen, 9. So, at the end of the day, we're performing still with a roster that has very limited experience And we're going to go through those moments in games where we challenge these young guys to go perform. And unfortunately, it doesn't work out, right? But we're gaining experience. So they're getting a part of this, big league challenge put to them, and they're going to get it again. Like, that's how we're going to get better. We're not going to get better by, not putting guys in situations to see if they can succeed, to challenge them to succeed. So, I totally understand, the loss yesterday in terms of the offense performed, but there's been many times the offense hasn't performed and the pitching has. So, that's baseball. That's why we play 162 games.
And it's building for next year. These kids getting this experience now. You mentioned golf. You got to learn how to play in a major before you win a major, right? You get this experience, and then now all of a sudden next year it's not anything new. So it's exciting times. It really is exciting times this second half. And we appreciate the time. Enjoy a little barbecue. Enjoy your buddy Bruce Bochy, because I don't know how many times you're going to get to manage against him. I don't know what he's going to do long term. Enjoy the series, and we'll see you back here at home.
Yeah, well, I know I'll get one more series against them in Oakland because they're the last series in the last game. So that'll be fun.
The Mark Kotsay Show brought to you by NestBetting.com. That's NestBetting.com. Love where you sleep.
This is Commander Cody, and fall is upon us, and Link Soul has dropped their new fall line. New pants fit for a more custom experience with elevated layers and performance polos to help transition from season to season, no matter if you're wearing them out on the golf course, out to dinner, or just hanging out with friends. Some effortless looks to help you find the right look and feel for any occasion. Go to their website, linksoul.com. That's linksoul.com, and find out how you can unlock 20% off your next order. Remember, in the big leagues, to play good, you got to look good.
Where does one community end and the next begin? Across the railroad tracks? On the other side of the river? Is it between the east side and the west side? At Comerica Bank, we believe it's all one community, and we're all part of it. That's why Comerica has invested over $20 million for affordable housing, financial education, and workforce development in lower-income communities. Because when we raise expectations for everyone, we all rise. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
If you haven't been to the Chicken Pie Shop in Walnut Creek, what are you waiting for? You're going to love the new menu, and it's a great place to watch all the pennant race action and the upcoming NFL and college football seasons. Come taste their world-famous chicken pie that has been served in Southern California for 86 years. Spacious indoor and outdoor dining, perfect for your next corporate party or birthday celebration. Don't forget free parking. For more information, go to chickenpieshopwc.com. That's chickenpieshopwc.com.
Hi, fans. This season, Kingsford Capital Management is the official hedge fund sponsor of the Oakland A's. At Kingsford, down to business is their way of seeing the world. Investing has its pitfalls, treacherous chasms of half-truth and despair. Kingsford's mission is to create opportunity through application of proven innovation and entrepreneurial focus with trust, tenacity, loyalty, and growth, establishing a strong reputation as a proven intendant and validated bedrock of American finance. Kingsford Capital, down to business.
Hey, Oakland A's fans, step up to the plate with Xfinity Internet. Get the fastest speeds and low-lag streaming for an incredible viewing experience that knocks it out of the park. And you'll have a consistent connection with reduced buffering and freezing, so you can stay in all the action inning after inning. When it's game time, make sure to catch it all with internet that's powerful and reliable. Stream sports from the best seat in the house with Xfinity, because it's only live once. Actual speeds vary and not guaranteed. Many factors affect speed. For factors affecting speed, visit xfinity.com/network.
This has been a presentation of the Oakland Athletics.